Chapter 97. In just a little while, the middle-aged man who did not drop the Clear Sky Command medallion was brought to the altar in the public square. At this time his face was pale, and his whole body was trembling. He did not have the awe-inspiring aura that he had when he dropped the Clear Sky Command medallion. If he had known that Ning Chung would obtain the first place in the written examination, even if his cultivation was abolished, he would not have dared to do such a thing. Hey, Symbol Master Ming, the Clear Sky Academy is a mixture of good and bad, with such a person existing, in the end alas. A woman from the Thunder Academy deliberately sighed. It was obvious that she wanted to hit him while he was down. Her meaning was that the Clear Sky Academy having such a person existing, was really not a good choice. Ming Haoqua's face was livid as he stared at the man with the cultivation of Qi gathering 9th level and said, "First hand over the Clear Sky Command medallion. For my Clear Sky Academy to have such a scum like you, it is really a disgrace." This middle-aged man with the cultivation of Qi gathering realm had just handed over the Clear Sky Command medallion while trembling. He did not even have the time to defend himself, when he was slapped by Ming Haoqua and turned into minced meat. After killing this Qi gathering cultivator, the anger on Ming Haoqua's face instantly disappeared. As if nothing had happened, he smiled as he once again returned the Clear Sky Command medallion to Ning Chung and said, "It is inevitable that there are some vermin in the academy. Fortunately this person was an outer sect disciple. The inner sect disciples of my Clear Sky Academy are definitely the cream of the crop. In fact, you could have found him at that time, if he had dared to drop your Clear Sky Command medallion. You could have directly told me any of the deacons of the Clear Sky Academy. They would have been able to solve the problem." Ning Chung was not polite. This Clear Sky Command medallion was originally his. After thanking him, he took the Clear Sky Command medallion and sighed and said, "Alas, I was trying to explain at that time, but at that time an essence building senior came to the Clear Sky Academy. He seemed to be called Martial Uncle Jing. He simply did not want to listen to any of my words, and directly told me to get lost. He said that this was a 5-star academy, and that I was not allowed to be long-winded. When I left, my heart was still very sad. The Clear Sky Academy was the place where I dreamed of going. But after this matter, my dream was shattered." After listening to Ning Cheng's words, Ming Haoqua's complexion was not as simple as it seemed. He had never thought that the Clear Sky Academy would take the initiative to kick him out of the evaluation of a 6-star academy. At this time, he did not have the face to continue to invite Ning Cheng to join the Clear Sky Academy, and directly said to Ning Cheng, "Ning Xiaocheng, I will go and look for that bastard. If you want to join my Clear Sky Academy, then you can come at any time, but you absolutely do not need the Clear Sky Command medallion." After Ming Haoqua left, only the other 4 academies were left to compete for Peace City. "Ning Xiaocheng, this time my Falling Star Academy has the most cultivators with pure spiritual roots. Why don't you join my Falling Star Academy?" A thin and weak-looking man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm from the Falling Star Academy spoke to Ning Chung in Yen. The tone of his voice was just like that of a big bad wolf seeing a little white rabbit. Ning Chung quickly cupped his fists and replied, "In fact, before I was ready to join the Clear Sky Academy, I was planning to join the Falling Star Academy. I have a cousin with a pure spiritual root who has already joined the Falling Star Academy. I think that if my cousin and I go to the same academy, it would be for the best." "Your cousin is in the Falling Star Academy, and also has a pure spiritual root? Then why are you still hesitating? You should also join my Falling Star 5-star Academy." This man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm had an excited expression on his face. What he saw was not Ning Chung, but a pile of points. Ning Chung once again sighed. "My qualifications are not as good as my cousin, so I was rejected by senior apprentice Sister Lan Yinyu from the Clear Heart Academy. I did not care about it. As long as my cousin joined the Falling Star Academy, it would be fine. But what I did not think was that senior apprentice Sister Lan Yinyu would use the excuse that I would delay my cousin's cultivation and chase me everywhere to kill me. I had nowhere to escape, and could only escape into the Dawn Forest. Fortunately, I happened to come across a spiritual essence spring pond in the Dawn Forest. I cultivated in that spiritual essence spring pond for nearly a year, and unexpectedly cultivated to the Qi gathering 9th level. Afterwards in the Yuan continent, I was able to obtain a true condensation pill from Pill Master Mulberry. I did not think that I would be lucky enough to succeed in the true condensation realm. Alas, if not for this matter, me and my cousin would both be in the Falling Star Academy, but now I do not have such thoughts." Ning Cheng said these words. In addition to digging a pit for Lan Yingyu, he also wanted to explain that his spiritual root qualifications were poor, and that his cultivation was so fast. He did not want to wait for others to ask and then explain. This man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm, after listening to Ning Cheng's words, also flew into a rage. A true condensation cultivator from the Clear Heart Academy even dared to obstruct the Falling Star Academy from recruiting the first place in the preliminary round. He did not care that Ning Cheng was not the first place at that time. As long as the consequences of this matter were caused by Lan Yingyu, he would definitely teach Lan Yingyu a lesson. Seeing the Clear Sky Academy and the Falling Star Academy simultaneously being rejected by Ning Cheng, an old man from the God Wind Academy who had long wanted to speak stood up and said, "Ning Xiaocheng, I think that the God Wind Academy is the most suitable place for you. My God Wind Academy can not only give you a separate immortal cave, but also let you enjoy the treatment of a core disciple. If your spiritual root is deficient, you can also come and go freely." The old man from the God Wind Academy said with great enthusiasm. Ning Cheng was moved in his heart. He understood the meaning of the old man's words. Since he had participated in the preliminary round to join a 5-star academy, then his spiritual root should not be too good. In the 5-star academies, the core disciples with good spiritual roots were protected. If they did not reach a certain level, then they would be restricted from going anywhere. Because of this, among the top 10 in the preliminary round, only the 7th place was from the God Wind Academy. It can be said that among the top 10 in the preliminary round, the God Wind Academy was the weakest. Because of this, Ning Cheng originally wanted to go to the God Wind Academy. After all, the rarer things were, the more precious they were. Now that the old man from the God Wind Academy had spoken, he was even more satisfied. Seeing that the other 2 academies were about to speak, Ning Cheng hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "Many thanks for the senior's kindness. This junior wanted to go to the God Wind Academy, because this junior's spiritual root is a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, and was only able to advance to the true condensation first level by chance. The God Wind Academy does not care about the strength of one's spiritual root. For this junior it could not be better. But this junior has a small request." Although the old man from the God Wind Academy invited Ning Cheng, but in his heart he did not have even half a shred of confidence. Among all the 5-star academies in the Hua continent, the God Wind Academy was the weakest and also the worst. So in the competition for the 6-star academies, they were also the least confident. It could even be said that they were accompanying the Crown Prince to study. Now that Ning Cheng had joined them, at least he would be able to get a good score in the written exam. Even if he lost in the end, he would not lose too much face. Because he had also heard a rumor that was once one of the 5-star academies was promoted to a 6-star academy, then one of the 4-star academies in the Hua continent would be promoted to a 5-star academy. But if the God Wind Academy's results were too bad, then they might even be squeezed out of the 5-star academies. "What is your request? You can just say it." The old man from the God Wind Academy was even more excited as he spoke. As for Ning Cheng saying that he had a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, he directly ignored it. Before, Ning Cheng had said that he had obtained a spiritual essence spring pond, but was only able to advance to the true condensation first level. It could be seen that this Ning Xiaocheng's qualifications were really not that good. "I have 2 friends, who also want to join the God Wind Academy with me. I don't know." Ning Cheng had already received a hint from Zhu Mu'er, and at this time he certainly had to state his conditions. Of these 2 friends, other than Ji Luofei, the other one was naturally Zhu Mu'er. After getting to know Zhu Mu'er, Ning Cheng knew that this Zhu Mu'er had a straightforward personality, and was not a scheming person. Coupled with the fact that he had obtained some benefits from Zhu Mu'er, it was only right for him to give a spot to Zhu Mu'er. As for whether Zhu Mu'er wanted it or not, it was her own business. He must join a 5-star academy. Not only did he want to seek an opportunity to go to an intermediate class continent, but he also wanted to take advantage of the 5-star academies to study. Because he had not studied systematically, he felt that compared to the cultivators of the same level, Some of the basic things that he understood were very few. Of course, as long as your two friends' spiritual roots are not bad, then they can enter the inner sect of my Godwind Academy. The old man from the Godwind Academy agreed to Ning Cheng's request without any hesitation. After the old man finished, he seemed to think that he should introduce himself, and quickly added, I am the Godwind Academy's Lucien, who is in charge of external affairs. If you come to my Godwind Academy, if you have any difficulties, then you can directly look for me. Seeing that Ning Cheng had already decided to join the Godwind Academy, although the other two 5-star academies were very disappointed, but they could do nothing about it. Luo Fei? Ning Cheng, along with Ji Luo Fei and Zhu Mu Er, followed the people from the Godwind Academy. Ji Yao he could clearly see them. When she recognized Ji Luo Fei, she almost called out. Fortunately, she knew that she could not call out Ji Luo Fei's name. Ji Luo Fei was a person that the Shui clan had taken a fancy to. Once the Shui clan came to know that Ji Luo Fei had returned to the Moze city, and was even mixed up with Ning Cheng, it would definitely not be good for Ji Luo Fei. She did not care about Ning Cheng's life or death, but Ji Luo Fei was after all her niece. She wanted Ji Luo Fei to marry into the Shui clan, although it was for her own sake, but she also wanted to help Ji Luo Fei. Ning Cheng was just a disciple of the Godwind Academy, and could not contend against a colossus like the Shui clan. Thinking until here, Ji Yao he decided not to look for Ji Luo Fei for the time being. That is Luo Fei, it must be Luo Fei. Luo Fei really came to the Hua continent. In the corner of the Moze city's Grand Plaza, a middle-aged beautiful woman was also staring at Ji Luo Fei, but her voice was trembling, and her expression was also extremely excited. When she first saw the girl with a veil covering her face beside Ning Cheng, she immediately knew that it was her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. This middle-aged beautiful woman was Xiong Qihua. After Ning Cheng recognized her, she could no longer stay in the Dawn Forest for even a day. She wanted to come out to look for her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. The man beside her was Zhu Hongwen. His heart was also filled with bitterness. Zhu Hongwen actually did not want Xiong Qihua to see Ji Luo Fei so soon. So when Xiong Qihua was preparing to go to the Ping continent, he took the initiative to ask Xiong Qihua to first go to the Yuan continent to look for her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. Of course, since the relationship between Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei was not ordinary, since Ning Cheng went to the Yuan continent, then Ji Luo Fei would definitely be in the Yuan continent. Xiong Qihua used her own measure to measure others. No matter where she went, it was always right to follow the person she liked. So she felt that what Zhu Hongwen said was right, and left the Dawn Forest to go to the Yuan continent. After arriving at the Yuan continent, the two of them came to know that the Hua continent's Moze city was holding a joint disciple recruitment event for the 5-star academies. Zhu Hongwen also said that Ji Luo Fei would certainly be like many other people, and would definitely go to the Hua continent's Moze city. Perhaps Ji Luo Fei's qualifications were good, and would be selected by the 5-star academies. Ji Luo Fei was Xiong Qihua's daughter. Xiong Qihua certainly would not think that her daughter's qualifications were not good. So the two of them rushed from the Yuan continent to the Hua continent. If not for Zhu Hongwen's experience in the Thunderfall Desert, and the safety route map, the two of them would have already fallen in the Thunderfall Desert. What Zhu Hongwen did not expect was that when they arrived at the Hua continent's Moze city, they would actually see Ji Luo Fei. Moreover, his guess was not wrong. Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei were together. Not only that, this person called Ning Xiaocheng was also the first in the written exam. Chapter 98. Looks like we found the right one. Zhu Hongwen also said with a pleasantly surprised tone. Only he himself knew whether he was really surprised or not. Hongwen, I'm going to see Luo Fei. Xiong Qihua completely forgot about the things she had discussed with Zhu Hongwen before, and rushed towards Ji Luo Fei. Zhu Hongwen quickly pulled Xiong Qihua and spoke. Qihua, I also hope that you can see Luo Fei as soon as possible, but now Luo Fei is together with that Ning Xiaocheng. The relationship between the two of them is obviously very close. I'm sure that Ning Xiaocheng has already spoken about our matter. It would be better if you don't go to see Luo Fei, but once you go to see Luo Fei, it might cause you, mother and daughter, to never have the chance to recognize each other again. Saying that, Zhu Hongwen felt that it was not enough, and added, This Ning Xiaocheng is treacherous and cunning. For him to be together with Luofei, it is definitely because of his flowery words and honeyed words. Since we injured him in the Dawn Forest, I am sure that he will exaggerate the things that happened between you and me, and will even slander us. Then what should we do? Xiong Qihua's complexion was pale. She did not know what she should do. Qihua, you don't have to worry about it. Let's just follow what we discussed before. Let's first follow Luofei and see where Luofei lives. Then when Luofei and Ningqing separate, we can go look for Luofei. Zhu Hongwen spoke with a calm voice. But Xiong Qihua's tone had already eased a lot. That Ning Xiaoqing looks quite good. Not only is he powerful, but he also obtained the status of a core disciple of the Godwind Academy. His future is very bright. I think it would be good for Luofei to follow him. After Ningcheng had spied on her and Zhu Hongwen's private matters, she only wanted to kill Ningcheng. But now that she saw that Ji Luofei and Ningcheng had a close relationship, she couldn't help but hesitate. She did not know if Ji Luofei would feel sad after she killed that Ning Xiaocheng. At the same time, in the depths of her heart, she felt that Ningcheng was worthy of her daughter. Qihua, you are still too kind. On the surface, there were tens of thousands of people who looked good. Not to mention that Ning Xiaocheng would have to participate in the preliminary written test. His qualifications would definitely not be good enough. Even if Ning Xiaocheng's qualifications were good, with a crafty person like him and Luofei together, the one who would end up injured would still be Luofei. Moreover, you can see that there is another woman beside him. That woman is definitely a shrewish person. How can Luofei deal with them? Zhu Hongwen stared at the back of Ningcheng and Ji Luofei as they left. Seeing that Xiong Qihua seemed to be at a loss, Zhu Hongwen's tone slowed down a bit and said, that Ning Xiaocheng is not even a student of a 5-star academy, but he has already brought along Luofei and another woman. In the future, when he has a firm foothold in the 5-star academy, he was also a core disciple. There were so many beautiful girls in the 5-star academy, so how could there still be a place for Luofei? What's more, if we do not separate Luofei and Ning Xiaocheng, it would be tantamount to you losing your daughter, Luofei. I'll listen to you, Xiong Qihua said weakly. Her tone was indecisive. Both of you have dual spiritual roots? In the residence of the Godwind 5-star academy, Deacon Lucien came to know that Ji Luofei and Zhu Mu'er both had dual spiritual roots, and was even more satisfied. With dual spiritual roots and a disciple with a good main spiritual root, not to mention an inner sect disciple, even if their performance was outstanding, they would still be able to become a core disciple. Zhu Mu'er was the happiest among them. My father had said several times that he would send me to a 5-star academy, so I relied on my own strength to enter a 5-star academy. When Zhu Mu'er spoke, she completely forgot that she had also relied on Ning Cheng's help to enter the Godwind Academy. Your father? Lu Xian asked in a puzzled voice. It was reasonable to say that a person who could casually send people to a 5-star academy should not be some unknown person. Zhu Mu'er proudly said. My father is called Medicine Master Zhu, don't you know him? Lu Xian was startled and quickly said. So you are Senior Brother Medicine Master's beloved daughter. It seems that I have neglected you. Ning Cheng had already guessed that Zhu Mu'er's father was not simple, and now it seems that it really was the case. Even a person like Lu Xian from the Godwind Academy was very respectful toward Zhu Mu'er's father. With this layer of relationship with Medicine Master Zhu, Lu Xian was even more enthusiastic towards the Ningcheng trio, and personally led the Ningcheng trio to the Godwind Academy's Jade Card, and went through the formalities to enter the Godwind Academy. After 10 days there will be the semifinals. The semifinals will test the ability to comprehend. The top 1,000 must participate. Do you want to move to the Godwind Academy to live here? In order to prepare for the semifinals 10 days later? Although Ningcheng was already a disciple of the Godwind Academy, but Lu Xian still cared about Ningcheng's opinion when he spoke. Many thanks, Deacon Lu. I still have some personal matters to attend to, so I will not be staying here for the time being. But I will not leave the Moze city. Moreover, in 10 days' time I will participate in the semi-finals. Ningcheng quickly refused. He had the mysterious yellow bead on him. If not for the fact that he had no other choice, He did not want to live together with a profound congealing master. Of course you have to prioritize your own matters. After 10 days, you can directly come to the Mose City's plaza. Towards Ningcheng, Lu Xian was incomparably tolerant. Ningcheng was not interested in staying in the Godwind Academy's station. And Ji Luofei obviously would not stay here. It was even more impossible for Zhu Mu'er to stay here alone. Plus she thought that now that she was able to enter a 5-star academy with her own ability, at this time, she could go and report to her father. Meaning, you see, I don't need your help. With my own ability I was able to enter the Godwind Academy? Luofei, in these 10 days, it would be best if we do not go out. The Mose city is not necessarily a safe place. Returning to the rest stop, Ningcheng first told Ji Luofei not to go out. And I feel that I will soon advance to the Qi Gathering 6th level, so I will stay here and cultivate for the next few days. Ji Luofei quickly replied. Even if Ningcheng did not tell her, she would not go to the main street of the Mose city alone. Ji Luofei went into seclusion to attack the Qi Gathering 6th level, while Ningcheng was also preparing to promote his own cultivation in these 10 days. After his meridians had been transformed by the mysterious yellow origin, wanting to cultivate to the great circle of the true condensation 1st level was several times more difficult than before. This was not because his qualifications had deteriorated, but because the resources that he needed for his cultivation were much more than before. If he did not have more resources for his cultivation, then for Ningcheng, expanding his meridians was not necessarily a good thing. That is to say, the resources that he originally needed to cultivate to the essence-building realm, now he would only be able to cultivate to the middle stages of the true condensation realm. You don't need to go into seclusion for the time being. I have something to discuss with you. Ningcheng had just arranged an isolation array formation, when a familiar voice abruptly sounded in Ningcheng's ears. Ningcheng stood up in surprise. Who had come to the room that he had arranged an array formation in, and he did not even know about it. How long has it been, and you don't even recognize your benefactor? This time the voice sounded in front of Ningcheng, and then Ningcheng saw a white-haired old woman wearing a blue robe. It's you? How did you? Ningcheng wanted to ask how this old woman was able to silently come here. He had arranged a few array formations in this room, but he swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Since this old woman had come, it meant that the other party's cultivation was much more powerful than his own. Moreover, compared to the last time this old woman came, there was a layer of chill around her body. The white-haired old woman slowly walked to a chair and sat down. I really did not think that you would be a Tier 2 array formation master. A trivial Tier 2 array formation to me is just like a layer of bubble. It is not to the extent that I would not be able to come in. Ningcheng suppressed the shock in his heart, and respectfully cupped his fists towards this white-haired old woman and said, Ningcheng greets Senior. Many thanks Senior for helping this junior refine an artifact. If Senior had not given me the inner armor, then this junior would have already fallen. Ningcheng's words were not nonsense. If this white-haired old woman had not helped him refine the inner armor, and the 7 Pleiades ice needle, then he really might have fallen. These 2 things had saved him several times. Although he was grateful, but Ningcheng's heart was equally uncomfortable. He felt that his level of array formations needed to be improved. At least he had to arrange a trigger array formation. Once someone entered his array formation, he would be the first to know. But thinking that this white-haired old woman's cultivation was worlds apart from his, Ningcheng felt a sense of powerlessness. Perhaps the trigger array that he had arranged was even more powerful, but the other party could still silently enter his room. This had nothing to do with the level of array formations. This was the disparity between their cultivations. You thank me for refining the inner armor, which means that you obtained 100 points in the preliminary round by relying on your own ability, and did not thank me because of this? To Ningcheng's surprise, the white-haired old woman said something that Ningcheng did not understand. Ningcheng was also puzzled in his heart. He had obtained the first place, but it was completely based on his own memory. What did this have to do with this white-haired old woman? When you received my wooden box, did you not receive the words that I left for you? The white-haired old woman saw that Ningcheng was puzzled, and once again reminded him. Ningcheng immediately remembered the words that the ugly youth had said when he handed over the wooden box. First, Madame Gong's son gave this to me before she left, she said. The things that you want are inside, and I hope that you will act according to your capabilities. At that time he had thought that it was just a 7 Pleiades ice needle. What was the point of acting according to one's capabilities? Now that he thought about it, the white-haired old woman's words seemed to be referring to something. Inside the wooden box, other than the inner armor and the ice needle, there did not seem to be anything else. Ningcheng thought until here, and immediately took out the empty wooden box. At the same time he swept out with his spiritual consciousness into the wooden box. The next moment he vaguely saw a jade strip sealed at the bottom of the wooden box. You can take out the jade strip. The old woman knew that Ningcheng had already discovered the jade strip. Ningcheng crushed the bottom of the wooden box, and after taking out the jade strip he asked in a puzzled voice, "Senior, what is this jade strip?" "You can see for yourself." The old woman spoke in a flat tone. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the jade strip, and immediately saw the contents inside. It turned out to be the basics of alchemy. This jade strip was very complex, and the contents inside were simply innumerable. The beginning of the jade strip was the basics of spiritual grasses. When Ningcheng saw the basics of spiritual grasses, he immediately understood what was going on. This basics of spiritual grasses and the contents of the preliminary round were exactly the same, but compared to the preliminary round, there were a lot more spiritual grasses. Seeing Ningcheng see the contents of the jade strip, the old woman said in a light voice, "I was sincere to you, and helped you a lot, but you deceived this old woman." Chapter 99. Ningcheng reacted quickly. When the old woman said that he had deceived her, he immediately understood what was going on. He had not read the basic spiritual grasses, but was still able to score 100 points. This also showed that his memory was indeed very strong. He could never forget anything he saw. Since his memory was so strong, then the old woman had given him the concealment method jade strip. As long as he looked at it once, he would definitely be able to remember it. But he had told the white-haired old woman that he did not want the jade strip, and even said it in a resolute manner. Now that the white-haired old woman caught him in the act, even if he wanted to deny it, he could not deny it. Thinking till here, Ningcheng awkwardly said, "Senior, this junior had already remembered the contents of the concealment method jade strip, so I did not want the jade strip. This junior really did deceive senior. Please punish me, senior." Ningcheng could only act like a rogue. This white-haired old woman's cultivation was much higher than his. If she really wanted to harm him, then no matter what he said, it would be meaningless. The white-haired old woman still spoke unhurriedly. "It's good that you know, since your memory is so strong. Then I will not take back this alchemy jade strip. Maybe one day you will really become a top-tier alchemy grandmaster." "Many thanks, senior," Ningcheng awkwardly said and put away the jade strip. He still felt a little uneasy in his heart. He and this old woman were not related, but the other party seemed to be very good to him. This made Ningcheng, who believed that there would not be a meat pie falling from the sky, unable to understand what was going on. The old woman seemed to know what Ningcheng was thinking, and suddenly said, "Do you think that I am very unusual to you? So you feel a little uneasy in your heart?" Not waiting for Ningcheng to speak, the old woman continued, "Initially I thought that you were an honest person. Plus the one-horned flood dragon material that you gave me was of great use to me. So I decided to help you a bit. Although the level of your one-horned flood dragon is not high, but the one-horned flood dragon is a very rare thing. To be able to obtain it is already very great." Ningcheng finally understood why the old woman had given him the foundation of alchemy. It turned out to be like this. "You should not think that the alchemy jade strip that I gave you is very ordinary. In fact, the foundation of alchemy that I gave you, even in the entire Yixing mainland, is the top of the top. If you study alchemy, then you will understand it in the future. But for me, the one-horned flood dragon is more useful." As the old woman spoke till here, she carefully stared at Ningcheng for a long time, and then continued, "The last time I gave you the foundation of alchemy, there was another reason. The last time I saw you, you had an unfathomable aura. This aura is amazing, and I don't know what it is. Why is it that when I saw you this time, the aura on your body disappeared? Or should I say, I can't sense it anymore?" Ningcheng used his strong heart to suppress the fear in his heart. and put on a look of not understanding the situation, as he frowned and said, "Senior, do I have a great aura on me? What was that? Could it be because I went to the spirit pith spring to cultivate?" The white-haired old woman gave a meaningful glance at Ning Cheng, and then shook her head in affirmation. Absolutely not. Then she did not continue to ask about the aura on Ning Cheng's body. Instead, her tone became a bit more gentle and said, "The last time you deceived me, I will not pursue it, but you have to help me with one thing." Ning Cheng immediately replied, "If there is anything that you need this junior's help with, senior, please do not hesitate to tell me. As long as this junior is able to do it, this junior will definitely not decline. You should be almost the same. I have seen the last additional question of the 5th written exam. You were able to solve this question in such a short period of time, without even using your spiritual sense. It shows that you have a special ability. That is, your computing ability is extremely strong." The old woman's words had an unquestionable tone. Ning Cheng knew that, whether he was willing or not, he would have to help her. As such, he simply kept his mouth shut. The white-haired old woman did not change her mind because of Ning Cheng's attitude, and continued, "At the intersection of the Thunderfall Desert and the Hua continent, there is a river. This river is called the Thunderfall Scorching River. In this Thunderfall Scorching River there is something. For this thing I have been preparing for many years. But even after I had prepared everything, I found that I still could not obtain this thing. Your mental arithmetic ability is extremely strong. Perhaps you can help me with something." Ning Cheng did not even think about it and directly said, "Yes, after I finish the semifinals, I will accompany senior to the Thunderfall Scorching River." He knew that even if he did not want to go, this white-haired old woman would still ask him to go. Now he could only hope that after this old woman obtained this thing, she would not kill him. But this old woman looked like a good person. It was reasonable to say that she would not kill him. "No, you will accompany me now. At most it will only take 2 or 3 days. Your semi-finals are still about 10 days away. There is no delay at all," the white-haired old woman simply said. Ning Cheng was just about to say that they would not be able to reach the edge of the Thunderfall Desert in 2 or 3 days, but thinking about the cultivation of the opposite party, he understood that the old woman in front of him would not be able to reach the edge of the Thunderfall Desert in 2 or 3 days. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart and said, "Since that is the case, then let's go together. I will go and speak to my companion, so that she will not be anxious if she cannot find me." "No, your little woman is currently in seclusion. It would be best if you do not disturb her." The white-haired old woman did not wait for Ning Cheng to speak again, and immediately grabbed Ning Cheng out of the rest stop. Ning Cheng spoke with some anger in his voice. "I have to leave a letter. You are too unreasonable." The white-haired old woman seemed to feel a little embarrassed, and let go of Ning Cheng, but still said, "I will be back soon. There is no need to leave a letter. You have a lot of time to be lovey-dovey with each other, and do not care about these few days." Facing this unreasonable old woman, Ning Cheng was too lazy to argue with her. He only hoped that this woman would keep her promise, and would bring him back to the Moze city in 2 to 3 days. Inside the Moze city, the old woman did not urge Ning Cheng, but she walked very fast, and in just a short time, they were already out of the Moze city. Ning Cheng followed behind the old woman, and could only speed up. The old woman did not immediately take out her flight-type magical weapon, and after leaving the Moze city, she continued to speed up. He estimated that she wanted to find a place where there was no one around to bring out her flight-type magical weapon. Because they had just left the city, there were still a lot of people walking on the main road. In addition to the cultivators coming and going, there were also some adventurers coming and going from the Moze city. When Ning Cheng passed by 2 male cultivators, he suddenly heard one of them say, "Junior apprentice Sister Yu Jing, this time Dean Man wants to take us to the Thunderfall Desert. Do you know why?" "I am not very clear. I heard that the ruins of the Lani country had appeared in the Thunderfall Desert. Many people went to look for it, but I have never heard anyone say that they found any ruins. This time Dean Man wants to take us to the Thunderfall Desert. It is very likely that it is because of this matter. I guess that it is mainly for the sake of the core disciple trial of the Falling Star Academy." The other person replied in a soft voice. Ning Cheng immediately slowed down his pace. The voice that answered him was obviously a woman's voice. Of the two male cultivators, one of them was dressed as a woman. Moreover, he also caught a few keywords: Yujing core disciple, Falling Star Academy. From these keywords, Ningcheng was almost certain that this female cultivator dressed as a man was Meng Yujing. Ningcheng slowed down his pace, and Meng Yujing and the other person immediately walked past him. He used his spiritual consciousness to sweep at Meng Yujing, and found that her face was covered with a veil that blocked his spiritual consciousness. However, Ningcheng could see from her exposed eyes that she was an absolute beauty. Her eyes were incomparably beautiful. If not for Meng Yujing covering her face, Ningcheng would have gone up to her to talk to her, and then hand over the things to her. "What the hell are you doing? Hurry up, don't dawdle." The white-haired old woman did not know when she suddenly arrived at Ningcheng's side, but she was very dissatisfied with Ningcheng dawdling behind her. Ningcheng quickly said, "Senior, one of the two people who just passed by is called Meng Yujing. I saw her go out with the other person. I just happened to have something to look for her, so I will have to delay a little bit and follow them from behind." The white-haired old woman frowned and said, "Ningcheng, you already have a woman called Ji Luo Fei. Don't fall in love with her. The true cultivator's world is filled with countless beautiful women. You might not even like them all. Besides that, Meng Yujing is a peerless beauty, and is also a proud disciple of the Falling Star Academy. Even if you are a disciple of the God Wind Academy, and even if you were the first in the preliminary round, she would not even look at you. You should just give up on this idea." "Senior Gongsun, I don't have the hobby of falling in love with anyone I see. Even if it is Ji Luo Fei, we are just friends. The reason why I am looking for Meng Yujing is because I really have something to do. It is very difficult for me to meet her. Now that I have met her, of course I have to talk about it," Ningcheng said in a somewhat uncomfortable manner. This old woman was using herself as a measure for others. When did I fall in love with anyone I see? Even if it was with Ji Luo Fei, there was also a reason for it. Then why don't you just go up and say it?" the old woman said with some impatience. Ningcheng simply refused. "No, I have to first investigate her character. Then, I will determine if I have something to do with her." Meng Yujing was Ko Hong's fiancée, and now she was very intimate with another man. If Meng Yujing was really like that Xiong Chi Hua, then Ningcheng was not willing to hand over Ko Hong's things to her. He had obtained some benefits from Ko Hong, so he had to be responsible for Ko Hong. He believed that even if Ko Hong was alive, he would not be willing to see his fiancée being intimate with another man. The white-haired old woman helplessly said, "Since that is the case, then let's follow her. It is really difficult for me to ask you for help. When you first came to me to refine artifacts, when you asked me to teach you the basics of alchemy, didn't I hesitate? I even gave you an inner armor." Chapter 100. Ningcheng ignored the chattering white-haired old woman on the side, and concealed his figure as he followed behind Meng Yujing. Half an hour later, the two of them were far away from the Moze city, and arrived at a mountain village. There were not many people in the mountain village. There were about a dozen families. There were many such mountain villages around the Moze city. Most of them were adventurers, or merchants who often went to the Moze city to do business, and a small part of them were local residents. Just when Ningcheng did not know what Meng Yujing and the man wanted to do, she and the man entered a house in the corner of the mountain village. Ningcheng quickly arrived at the window of the house, and carefully probed it with his spiritual sense. The inside of the house unexpectedly had everything. Not only was there a living room, but there were also bedrooms. Moreover, looking at the movements of Meng Yujing and the man, one could tell that they often came to this room. "Junior sister Yujing, hasn't he come to find you yet?" the man asked absent-mindedly. "No, I guess he went to look for his younger brother. When he has the opportunity, he will definitely come to find me." Meng Yujing's voice was very low, as if she was thinking about something far away. "Junior apprentice sister Yujing." The man suddenly appeared in front of Meng Yujing, with one hand wrapped around Meng Yujing's waist, while the other hand climbed onto Meng Yujing's chest. Ningcheng's heart was filled with sorrow for that Ko Hong. Even before he died, he was still thinking about his fiancée, and wanted him to deliver the things to his fiancée, but he did not think that his fiancée had already changed her mind. If Ko Hong knew that his fiancée was such a person, he probably wouldn't continue to ask him to send gifts over. Ning Cheng was still guessing whether this small house was the place where Meng Yujing and her new lover often met up, when he felt the back of his neck tighten. The next moment he could not help but be taken away from this place. The white-haired old woman threw Ning Cheng to the ground and said, "You're so young, yet you're not afraid of being cross-eyed. What's so interesting about this thing? Hurry up and come with me to the Thunderfall Scorching River." Although Ning Cheng did not say it out loud, but in his heart he spat out a ba sound. If this old woman also had cross eyes, then in some place flooded with V's, cross eyes would already be everywhere. This old woman really did not have any experience. Besides, if she didn't look at it herself, how would she know what he was looking at? The white-haired old woman really was not bragging, as she brought Ning Cheng along with her for less than half a day, before they arrived at the Thunderfall Scorching River. In Ning Cheng's view, the distance from the Thunderfall Scorching River to the Moz city was much further compared to the distance from the Thunderfall Desert to the Moz city. This white-haired old woman had used a very ordinary flight-type magical weapon to bring him here in such a short period of time. From this, one could see how powerful she was. Moreover, Ning Cheng even suspected that she had not used her full strength. Looking at the Thunderfall Scorching River from the flying artifact, it was a boundless body of water. Thin ripples flowed on the surface of the water, making people feel that this was an extremely gentle river. But the color of the water was extremely deep. It made Ning Cheng involuntarily think of the Quicksand River in the journey to the west. 800 flowing sands realm, 3,000 weak waters. If goose feathers cannot float, reed flowers will sink to the bottom. Why is it so cold here? Ning Cheng had just stepped out of the flight-type magical weapon, when he immediately asked in a surprised voice. Just by hearing the name Thunderfall Scorching River, one could tell that the temperature of the river was definitely very high. At the very least, it would only be the same as an ordinary river. It was impossible to call such a bone-chilling place the Scorching River. He was still at the riverside, but Ning Cheng could already feel the cold. If he entered the river, then would he still be able to live? One must know that he was a cultivator at the true condensation first level. Even if he did not revolve his true essence, he would not be so afraid of the cold. Because this river has another name. It is called the Forbidden Cold River. The Thunderfall Scorching River that I am talking about is the name of this river from countless years ago. Now there are not many people who know the name of the Thunderfall Scorching River. Most people only know that this is one of the two forbidden cold lands of the Yixing mainland, the Forbidden Cold River. A lot of people say that the real forbidden cold land of the Yixing mainland is the Sickwood Cold Cave, but they are all wrong. The real cold land of the Yixing mainland is here, the Forbidden Cold River. The white-haired old woman seemed to be explaining to Ning Cheng, but also seemed to be talking to herself. Ning Cheng did not think that this old woman was wrong. He was still standing at the riverside, but he could already feel the bone-chilling cold. Once he entered the river, how terrible would it be? The reason why I stayed in the Nanyuan city is because I was poisoned by the cold poison here. I had thought that I would never come here again in my life, but I did not expect that you would unexpectedly send me the materials of the one-horned flood dragon. I think that this might be the will of the heavens, to let me once again enter the Forbidden Cold River. The old woman sighed, and unexpectedly spoke out the things that Ning Cheng did not ask. Why must you use the one-horned flood dragon? Ning Cheng asked in a puzzled voice. The white-haired old woman stared at the rippling river in front of her, and spoke in a slow voice. No matter how high your cultivation is, even if you are a powerful body refiner, you will not be able to resist the bone-chilling cold of this cold river. Only by refining the materials of the one-horned flood dragon into a water boat-type artifact can you enter the cold river and reduce the invasion of the cold poison to a minimum. Moreover, the horn of the one-horned flood dragon can be used to refine the bow of the boat, and its speed in the cold river is also the fastest. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. No wonder this white-haired old woman's cultivation was so high, but she still attached such importance to his Class 4 one-horned flood dragon. Originally it was to explore the cold river, but he did not know what kind of treasure was inside the cold river, for this old woman to care so much about it. Before, I found 2 pieces of one-horned flood dragon materials. The first one-horned flood dragon was a Class 7 monstrous beast, Its materials almost made me search the entire cold river. Unfortunately, just as I was about to find what I needed, the water boat type artifact refined by the one-horned flood dragon was also corroded by the cold poison. Later, after many years, I was able to obtain the materials of a Class 5 one-horned flood dragon. When Ning Cheng heard the white-haired old woman speak till here, his heart started to beat wildly. This white-haired old woman was able to obtain the materials of a Class 7 one-horned flood dragon. Just how terrifying was her cultivation? At the very least, she should be in the soul-sculpting realm, right? No wonder she was able to come to his room without making any noise. The white-haired old woman did not know that Ning Cheng was thinking about her terrifying cultivation, and still continued to speak. The water boat that was refined from the Class 5 one-horned flood dragon materials, compared to the water boat that was refined from the Class 7 horned flood dragon materials, the difference was too much. When I entered the cold river for the third time, the water boat unexpectedly began to break. It just so happened that at that time, I found what I was looking for. I thought that even if the water boat broke, with my ability, it should not be a problem for me to persist for a couple of hours. Ning Cheng was once again worried in his heart. The water boat that the white-haired old woman refined from the Class 5 one-horned flood dragon could only persist for 3 times in the cold river before it broke. Then wouldn't the Class 4 one-horned flood dragon that he gave to the white-haired old woman not be able to persist for even a single trip? Once the water boat broke, wouldn't it be difficult for him to persist for a few breaths? Sure enough, the white-haired old woman continued. But I overestimated my own ability. I was not able to persist for an hour before I was hit by a very heavy cold poison. In desperation, I could only withdraw from the cold river and hid in a small place in Nanyuan City to heal. If I had not met you, I thought that I would never be able to come here again. Senior, that Class 5 horned flood dragon was not able to persist for 3 times. The one-horned flood dragon that I gave to Senior was only a Class 4 horned flood dragon. Wouldn't it be even more? Ning Cheng's words had not yet finished, when the white-haired old woman already understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, and said in a light voice, "You don't have to worry, my level of artifact crafting has also improved a lot. Moreover, this time we only need to make 1 trip. Moreover, I know the path this time, so we will be able to reach the bottom of the river in the shortest time possible. Of course, if you are too slow when calculating the entrance, and the water boat breaks, then I can do nothing about it. At most, I will accompany you to die at the bottom of the cold river." Ning Cheng cursed in his heart. Who would want an old woman like you to accompany me to death? But in the end he could not find a reason to resist. The white-haired old woman simply ignored Ning Cheng's silent resistance, and directly brought out a black-horned half-moon boat. At the same time, she patted the hull of the half-moon boat, and a hatch appeared in the middle, just like a space capsule. The old woman first entered the hatch, and then said to Ning Cheng, "Quickly come in." Ning Cheng had no choice but to enter the hatch. The inside of the cabin was very small, only 2 people could squeeze in. Fortunately, one of them was a white-haired old woman, while the other was less than 20 years old. As such, there would not be any awkwardness. After Ning Cheng was led into the cabin by the old woman, the white-haired old woman immediately closed the hatch, raised her hand and took out a few spirit stones and inserted them into the groove in front of the 2 people, while simultaneously controlling the water boat to enter the river. Even if they were inside the cabin, after the water boat entered the cold river, a kind of bone-chilling cold made Ning Cheng involuntarily shiver. Ning Cheng's heart simultaneously jumped. He was incomparably shocked. The white-haired old woman thought that Ning Cheng was shocked because of the bone-chilling cold, and spoke with some disdain. "We have just entered the cold river. The inside of it is countless times colder than this." Only Ning Cheng knew that he was not shocked because of the cold river. A moment ago, when the old woman had taken out the spirit stones and inserted them into the groove, Ning Cheng could clearly see that the white-haired old woman's wrist was white and smooth. This was definitely not the wrist of an old woman. Even Ji Luofei's wrist was not as smooth as this. Chapter 101. This old woman was definitely in disguise. Ning Cheng immediately came to this conclusion. It was impossible for an old woman to have wrinkles on her face. and her hands were also incomparably old, but her wrist was as smooth as jade. But Ning Cheng soon calmed down. Whether it was a blessing or a curse, if it was a curse he could not avoid it. Whether the other party was an old woman or a young woman, he was the weaker party. Once he put aside his worries, Ning Cheng's mind immediately opened up. Then he found that in addition to the increasingly cold water, the speed of the water boat was also getting slower and slower. "Senior, is this what you meant by fast?" Ning Cheng asked. "This kind of speed could also be called the fastest?" "Yes, this is the speed." The old woman simply replied. She was too lazy to explain further. Ning Cheng was helpless. He could only circulate his true essence to resist the surrounding cold. His spiritual sense could only pass through the water boat's array formation, and was limited to a radius of 3 to 5 meters around the water boat. Once he went out of this range, his spiritual sense would disappear without a trace. Ning Cheng was secretly shocked in his heart. Once the water boat broke, in this kind of terrible cold, would he be able to persist for even a quarter of an hour? After an hour passed, in addition to the increasingly cold air, Ning Cheng could only feel that the water boat was getting deeper and deeper into the water. After another hour passed, Ning Cheng suddenly heard a crisp caw sound. He was startled, and immediately turned to ask the old woman what was going on. He did not expect that the old woman would take the initiative to speak. "I did not expect that with your trivial cultivation of true condensation first level, your true essence would be so rich, to be able to withstand the cold in this place. Senior, do not divert my attention. Did our water boat make a sound?" Ning Cheng at this time did not care about respecting the old, and asked in a reproachful tone. The old woman had said that this water boat would be able to safely bring him to the shore, but now he had not even reached the bottom of the water, and the water boat had already cracked. How would he go back? "That's right, a moment ago the water boat really did crack. I did not think that this class 4 one-horned flood dragon would be so weak. We have not even reached the place, and it has already begun to crack." The white-haired old woman spoke in a calm tone, without even a shred of surprise. But Ning Cheng had just spoken these 2 words, when this white-haired old woman continued. "You don't need to say but, our water boat will soon arrive, you will not die." Ning Cheng could only shut up. Even if the white-haired old woman let him go, he would not be able to leave. "Senior, can you tell me what's in this cold river? I can help out later. Otherwise, when I reach the bottom of the river, I'll have to waste time again." Ning Cheng thought that since he already knew about this secret, then even if this old woman wanted to kill him to silence him, it would still be better for him to know more about it. The white-haired old woman did not conceal anything, and spoke in a gentle tone. Many years ago, the forbidden cold river was still called the Thunderfall Scorching River. One day, an extremely terrifying giant axe shadow fell over the Yixing mainland. This giant axe chopped down on the edge of the Yixing mainland. Perhaps because of the extraordinary origin of this giant axe, all kinds of rare spirit grasses, and all kinds of natural treasures have been growing crazily in this tens of thousands of miles long gorge. Could it be that Senior is talking about the Angry Axe Valley? When Ning Cheng was on the airship, he had already heard about the Angry Axe Valley, so when this old woman spoke about it, he immediately reacted. But what he did not understand was, this was the Forbidden Cold River. What kind of relationship did it have with the Angry Axe Valley? The old woman nodded and said, "That's right, it is the Angry Axe Valley. There are many people who know about the Angry Axe Valley, but no one knows that when that giant axe shadow fell, there was another thing that fell. That thing did not fall in the Angry Axe Valley, but fell in the Thunderfall Scorching River." "Senior, are you looking for another thing that fell from the void?" Ning Cheng immediately came to understand. "That's right. I am looking for another thing." In fact, there were a few people who knew about the thing that fell from the Thunderfall Scorching River, but because they could not find it, they thought that it was a misinformation. Because of the thing that fell from the void, it made the temperature of the Thunderfall Scorching River lower and lower, and as a result, the people who could enter the Thunderfall Scorching River were even fewer. I also came to know about the matter of the Thunderfall Scorching River by chance. As the white-haired old woman spoke till here, her tone was filled with a bit of pride. It was obvious that she was proud of the fact that other people did not know about it, but she knew about it. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, The old woman took the initiative and said, "That Angry Axe Valley actually has a lot of good things. In the future, if you can enter the Angry Axe Valley, it would definitely benefit you for a lifetime. Of course, the premise is that you can come out alive." "Is the Angry Axe Valley not a mystic place? I heard that it has a time limit," Ningqing quickly asked. The white-haired old woman snorted and said, "Countless years ago, the Yixing mainland was rich in resources and had many powerhouses. Crucible transformation cultivators could be seen everywhere. At that time, the Angry Axe Valley was not a mystic place. Some of the powerhouses entered the Angry Axe Valley to look for opportunities. Because the Angry Axe Valley had too many good things, it resulted in many killings between the powerhouses. As more and more of the experts died, finally all the Crucible transformation cultivators sat down. They mutually agreed that the Angry Axe Valley would not allow any cultivators above the Essence Building realm to enter. Moreover, they jointly turned the Angry Axe Valley into a mystic place. Only with a specific jade card, one could enter the Angry Axe Valley. Later on, the Angry Axe Valley became a fixed place for true condensation or chi-gathering cultivators to gain experience. As Ningqing listened to it, he once again heard a caw sound. Ningqing's complexion immediately turned ugly. It seems that the quality of this water boat was not good. He was already thinking that when the water boat exploded, he would be the first to enter the mysterious yellow bead. Since the time when he involuntarily entered the mysterious yellow bead, he had never tried to enter the mysterious yellow bead. Even Ningqing himself did not know whether he could go in or not. "We're here." The white-haired old woman's voice promptly interrupted Ningqing's train of thoughts. Not waiting for Ningqing to speak, the white-haired old woman opened the hatch of the water boat and simultaneously took out an array flag and threw it out. The next moment, the old woman grabbed Ningqing and brought Ningqing out of the water boat. Just as Ningqing came out of the half-moon water boat magical weapon, he immediately felt a bone-chilling cold invade his body. Not only did his true essence not have even the slightest effect, he was simply unable to circulate it. Not only that, even his spiritual sense could not be used. "It's over." Ningqing had just thought of this when the white-haired old woman brought out a fiery red round cover. The round cover completely covered her and Ningqing. After Ningqing was covered by the round cover, the cold feeling in his body instantly disappeared. As the chill disappeared, Ningqing immediately saw a huge aqua-colored door. The color of this door was the same as the color of the water of the cold river. If not for the old woman bringing him out, he would not have been able to see it clearly. Ningqing immediately felt a kind of ancient vicissitudes of life. Ningqing immediately knew that this door was definitely not ordinary. What the old woman said was right. This was definitely a treasure among treasures. But unfortunately, this treasure was not his. Even if he obtained it, it would be taken away by the old woman. Ningqing subconsciously wanted to sweep out with his spiritual sense, but immediately felt a pain in his zifu. He was simply unable to sweep out with his spiritual sense. He looked at the white-haired old woman next to him, and was surprised to find that the white-haired old woman was trembling, and her face was even paler. It was obvious that the white-haired old woman was also struggling to control this shield. "Do you see the thing on the door?" The old woman seemed to be completely unaware that she was already struggling, as she spoke to Ningqing with an incomparably excited tone. Ningqing could clearly hear that her voice was somewhat distorted and trembling. This distorted voice was completely different from her usual old voice. There were only 6 different colored array flags on the door. Other than that, there was nothing else. Ningqing was puzzled when he heard the old woman eagerly speak. "I can't hold on for long. This is the array formation foundation. Quickly calculate how many array formation methods there are." Ningqing then discovered that under the 6 different colored array flags, there was a row of small characters. Vermilion bird illusion array formation basic changes. 6 different illusion array flags, arranged into 3 flags and 2 rows of changes, can carry out several changes. In the position of the table was a blank. It turned out to be a fill-in-the-blank question. The question for Ningqing was extremely simple. It meant that there were 6 different array flags, arranged in 2 rows, with 3 array flags in each row. How many different ways could there be to arrange them? Senior, this question is so simple. Even if you are not able to use your spiritual sense now, after so many years, Wouldn't you be able to solve it? Ningqing looked at the white-haired old woman in doubt. He did not believe that such a question. The white-haired old woman would not be able to solve it until now. Idiot, the question here is different every time. Hurry up and calculate it. The white-haired old woman called out in an extremely unhappy tone. Ningqing was speechless as he spoke. If it's so simple, then how could you calculate it? 720 different ways to arrange them. So simple? The old woman looked at Ningqing with some disbelief. Ningqing did not even calculate it, and just answered it. It made her somewhat suspicious. Ningqing was too lazy to pay attention to this old woman. Believe it or not, it was up to her. The old woman looked at Ningqing's expression and knew that she should not expect Ningqing to answer her. She suddenly rushed out of the fiery red shield and wrote the number 720 in the blank space. Squeak squeak, a soft sound emerged, and the aqua-colored door unexpectedly slowly opened. Is it really right? The old woman was immediately pleasantly surprised as she spoke to Ningqing. Without my control, the duration of the shield is limited. You have to find a way to return to the water boat and wait for me. I want to go in. She had not even finished her words when the old woman had already rushed into the aqua-colored door. Then the aqua-colored door once again slowly closed with a squeak. Ningqing stared at the aqua-colored door with a dumbfounded expression. He completely forgot to despise the old woman for not sending him to the half-moon boat's magical weapon cabin. The moment the door opened, he felt a kind of spirit energy that he had never felt before. No, it was definitely not spiritual qi. To be exact, this spiritual qi was many times stronger than spiritual qi. Just by sensing this aura, he felt that his cultivation was rising rapidly. What the hell is this place? Chapter 102. Ningqing's first thought was to quickly sit down and cultivate, but he immediately remembered that his life was now in danger. This place was so cold. Moreover, the old woman who was controlling the fiery red shield had already left. Even if he returned to the half-moon ship, it would still be somewhat difficult. The red color of the fiery red shield had already faded, apparently because the old woman had lost control of it. This shield would not last for long. Ningqing looked back at the half-moon ship. He calculated the distance. Before the fiery red shield completely lost its effect, he should be barely able to return to the half-moon ship. It could be seen that the old woman had already calculated it, and did not deliberately harm him. However, Ningqing was actually cursing in his heart. This old woman only cared about her own treasure. She simply did not care about his safety. She was a typical person who would burn the bridge after crossing the river. Just when Ningqing wanted to speed up the speed of controlling the shield to enter the half-moon ship, he suddenly felt a strong call. Ningqing immediately noticed that there was something on the side of the closed aqua-colored door. It was dark purple in color, and was only the size of a soybean. Ningqing was sure that he had not seen this thing before. That is to say, this thing only appeared after the door at the bottom of the cold river had opened. The old woman was in a hurry to enter the door, and did not notice this thing. Should he return to the half-moon ship, or should he take away this soybean-sized thing? The shield on his body could only provide him with one choice. Moreover, even if he took the thing attached to the aqua-colored door, the shield would not be able to support him back to the half-moon ship. After Ningqing hesitated for a moment, he decided to take this thing away. First of all, the thing that had called out to him a moment ago was this soybean-sized thing. And the other was that Ningqing felt that the things in this place were not simple. If he could take away one of them, then it would be good. After he took this thing, once the shield lost its effect, he would then try to find a way to enter the mysterious yellow bead. Cultivation depended on opportunities. If there was an opportunity in front of him, if he did not take it, then his heart would feel suffocated and uncomfortable. What's more, Ningqing knew that when the old woman came out, she would definitely not give him any soup to drink. Once he made a decision, Ningqing no longer hesitated, and immediately walked towards this dark purple thing. As Ningqing walked through this place, he finally understood what the old woman meant when she said that the speed of the half-moon ship was very fast. Every step he took at the bottom of the river was extremely difficult. Ningqing almost revolved his entire body's true essence to move forward with his protective shield. Although it was only a distance of 1 or 2 meters, Ning Cheng had to walk for dozens of breaths. Furthermore, there was an array formation in front of the aqua-colored door that prevented the flow of water. Otherwise, it would have been even more difficult for him to walk. Seeing that the shield was about to shatter, Ning Cheng did not care about anything else, as he raised his hand and grabbed that dark purple thing. A terrible heat spread from Ning Cheng's palm to his whole body. Catcha, the protective shield shattered. Ning Cheng simply did not have enough time to enter the mysterious yellow bead, but at this time he did not need to enter the mysterious yellow bead. The terrifying temperature of his palm had long dispersed the coldness around him. Ning Cheng could even feel that as long as the soybean-sized thing in his hand exploded, his entire body would turn into nothingness. A kind of flattering message was transmitted to Ning Cheng from this soybean-sized thing. It made Ning Cheng feel that although this thing was powerful, but it did not have any intention of harming him, which made Ning Cheng feel a bit more at ease. The next moment, Ning Cheng received the message that it had recognized him as its master. This inconspicuous thing in his hand unexpectedly had a spiritual nature. Moreover, it even took the initiative to recognize him as its master. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to imprint his own imprint on it. Ning Cheng had just imprinted his imprint on it, when this thing suddenly disappeared from his palm, not even waiting for Ning Cheng to refine it. Or rather, Ning Cheng simply did not have the ability to refine it. Ning Cheng soon found out where this thing was hiding. This thing was staying right next to the mysterious yellow bead, and was securely staying in his zifu. Originally it had taken a fancy to the mysterious yellow bead, which was why it had recognized him as its master. Although it was not because of his own imperial aura, but the mysterious yellow bead was not his. Ning Cheng had just learnt from the message that this soybean-sized thing had a very resounding name. It was called Star River. As for its origin, as for what it was used for, he was completely unaware of it. The Star River just stayed motionless next to the mysterious yellow bead, seemingly waiting for Ning Cheng to refine it. Something is not right. Ning Cheng found that at this time he did not have a protective cover, nor did he return to the half-moon ship. He could now endure the cold around him. Not only could he endure it, he could also clearly feel that the cold around him was gradually weakening. In other words, the temperature at the bottom of the river was starting to rise. Ning Cheng did not know what was going on, but he was sure that this thing should have something to do with the Star River. The Star River was at the bottom of this cold river, but the temperature was not only not cold, but rather it was very high. It was a bit strange. Now that he had taken away the Star River, the temperature at the bottom of the river immediately rose. Ning Cheng already understood in his heart that the heat of the river was most likely completely absorbed by the Star River. It was precisely because the heat of the river was completely absorbed by the Star River that the river became so cold. Moreover, because of the existence of the Star River that was constantly absorbing heat, the river simply could not freeze. Such a terrifying thing unexpectedly remained in his zifu. Fortunately, it had already recognized him as its master. If it did not recognize him as its master, then wouldn't it also absorb all the heat from his body the next moment? This was the first time that Ning Cheng knew that there was a thing that could purely absorb heat. He decided that once he was free, the first thing he would do was to completely refine this Star River that had already recognized him as its master. He absolutely could not allow even half a mistake to exist. At this time the cold at the bottom of the river had already disappeared. Ning Cheng was not willing to waste even a little bit of time, and immediately sat down at the entrance and began cultivating. The spiritual qi here was so rich. If one did not cultivate, then one would be a fool. After Ning Cheng sat down to cultivate, he realized that he had still underestimated the spiritual qi in this place. He had never tried to cultivate at such a fast speed, from true condensation first level to the great circle of true condensation first level. It only took him a few hours. Immediately he rushed to true condensation second level without even half a moment of stagnation, as his cultivation continued to rise. 2 days later, Ning Cheng unexpectedly cultivated to the late stages of true condensation second level. Ning Cheng was ecstatic in his heart. He intended to rush to the true condensation third level in one go. Unfortunately, when he was trying to break through to the true condensation third level, the extremely rich spiritual qi that he felt disappeared without a trace. It was completely absorbed. Ning Cheng said with some disappointment, if there was a lot of this spiritual qi, then who would be able to compare to his cultivation speed? Moreover, this spiritual chi was only brought out when the door was opened. Once he entered the door to cultivate, his cultivation speed would definitely be formidable. Ningqing simply could not imagine it. Unfortunately, the door was already closed. The things inside definitely belonged to that white-haired old woman. Feeling that his true essence was several times more powerful than before, Ningqing's disappointment immediately turned into happiness. He had been cultivating outside for nearly 3 days, but the old woman had not come out after entering the door. It seems that the old woman had lied to him when she said that she would bring him back to the Moze city in 2 to 3 days. Ningqing had no other way, and could only begin to refine the Star River in his Zifu. The Star River had already recognized him as its master, so when Ningqing began to refine it, it unexpectedly was extremely cooperative, and in just half a day, Ningqing had completely refined the Star River. It was not until this time that Ningqing came to know what the Star River was. It was actually a fire seed. Only by absorbing a large amount of flames, or a large amount of heat, would this fire seed be able to break out of its shell and turn into a flame. It was because the Star River had felt the mysterious yellow bead that it took the initiative to recognize Ningqing as its master. Now that the Star River had been refined, there was no longer any spiritual chi that could be absorbed. Ningqing pushed the door with his hand, but the door did not budge. It was extremely firm. Ningqing looked around the door again, and suddenly saw 4 very small characters, Scorching Harmony Immortal Mansion. This turned out to be an immortal mansion? Ningqing was incomparably shocked in his heart. He believed that no one would have thought that there would be an immortal mansion underneath the Thunder Fall Scorching River. There were no legends about the immortal world in the Yixing mainland, but he had heard about the immortal world back on Earth. Of course, it was only a legend from ancient China. He did not expect that he would actually see an immortal mansion in front of him. Ningqing was not very sure if this immortal mansion was the immortal mansion that he had imagined, but he knew that the inside of this door was definitely not ordinary. Ningqing now completely understood why that old woman wanted to enter this door. She wanted to refine this immortal mansion. My goodness, this immortal mansion was going to be refined by her. How many things would she be able to obtain? Ningqing had just thought of this. When he felt an extreme sense of danger, Ningqing did not think about it and quickly retreated. Immediately he saw the originally closed door of the immortal mansion suddenly open, and the old woman who had entered the immortal mansion before was thrown out like a cannonball. The river in front of the door of the immortal mansion, which was originally sealed by the array formation, immediately began to flow. Ningqing was aware that he was being driven by the flowing river water, and quickly circulated his true essence to forcibly retreat. The old woman was thrown out. It was obvious that the refining was not successful. The old woman's cultivation was formidable, but she was still not successful in refining it. Ningqing did not even think about it. At this time he only knew to rush towards the surface of the river. Fortunately, at this time the temperature of the river was no longer ice cold. Otherwise he would have died without a doubt. Boom! A loud sound rang out, as it rushed past Ningqing's side. Ningqing was driven by this huge flow of water, and immediately flew out of the river at the fastest speed. At the same time as he flew out of the river, he saw a black shadow rushing into the void from the surface of the river, disappearing in a twinkling of an eye. Ningqing, because of this powerful impact, spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood. After he appeared on the surface of the river, he immediately rushed to the shore. Lying on the shore, Ningqing took a deep breath. After a long time he saw the figure of the white-haired old woman appear in a distant place. The white-haired old woman at this time was overflowing with blood from the corners of her mouth, and her clothes were in tatters. Ningqing could clearly see that her exposed skin was incomparably white. This old woman immediately activated a concealment restriction, and when she came out of the restriction, she once again reverted to her incomparably old appearance. But this time in her eyes, there was a trace of genuine loss and exhaustion. Seeing the white-haired old woman arrive in front of him, Ningqing climbed up with difficulty, coughed a few times and said, "Senior, what was that thing that washed away from the bottom of the river? I almost died because of that thing. It was really too terrible." The old woman sighed. "Even if you know it, it would be of no use. I am unable to refine it." Alas, I have implicated you. I will send you back to the Moze city. After saying that, the white-haired old woman did not seem to want to speak another word, as she brought out a flight-type magical weapon, and brought Ningcheng back to the periphery of the Moze city at the fastest speed. Only then did she put Ningcheng down and said, "This time I owe you a favor. I will need to find a place to go into seclusion. We will meet again someday." After the old woman and Ningcheng casually said their goodbyes, she once again controlled the flight-type magical weapon, and in a twinkling of an eye disappeared without a trace. Ningcheng looked at the direction in which the white-haired old woman disappeared, and sighed in his heart. Obtaining treasures also required a lot of luck. Fortunately, his luck was not bad, and he was able to obtain a fire seed. The white-haired old woman looked very tired and lost, but Ningcheng did not believe that she did not obtain anything in the immortal mansion for a few days. Perhaps she was greedy, although she obtained a lot of things, but she was still not satisfied. Chapter 103. Ji Luofei did not expect that in less than 3 days, she would break through from the Qi Gathering 5th level, and advance to the Qi Gathering 6th level. After advancing to the Qi Gathering 6th level, Ji Luofei did not even have the time to stabilize herself, as she hurriedly came out to tell the good news to Ningcheng. She knew that Ningcheng was most concerned about her cultivation. As long as her cultivation went up, Ningcheng would be the happiest thing. But what made Ji Luofei puzzled was that Ningcheng was not here. Moreover, he did not even leave a letter behind. Ji Luofei walked out of the room. She intended to ask the people in the rest stop when Ningcheng went out. Ji Luofei walked to the exit of the rest stop. At this time there was a middle-aged beautiful woman asking the staff of the rest stop if there were any empty rooms available. Ji Luofei felt that this middle-aged beautiful woman was somewhat cordial. She subconsciously looked at her a few more times. At this time, the middle-aged beautiful woman seemed to be aware that Ji Luofei was looking at her. She turned around and saw Ji Luofei. She stared at Ji Luofei for a long time. When Ji Luofei frowned, this middle-aged beautiful woman suddenly called out in a trembling voice, "Luofei." After calling out this sentence, the middle-aged beautiful woman's eyes became a little red and swollen, and her expression was filled with excitement. "Who are you?" Ji Luofei stared at the middle-aged beautiful woman in front of her. She felt that there was some kind of connection between her and this middle-aged beautiful woman. This kind of vague feeling made her feel a little strange. "Luofei, what happened to your face?" After the middle-aged beautiful woman discovered that Ji Luofei's face was disfigured, she immediately asked in a nervous voice. This middle-aged beautiful woman was Xiong Qihua. She had never thought that her daughter's face would unexpectedly be disfigured. When she saw her daughter's disfigured face, she suddenly felt a burst of dizziness. She felt sorry for her daughter. It was because she did not take good care of her daughter that her daughter's face was disfigured. Ji Luofei's strange and familiar feeling became even more intense. She once again asked, "Excuse me, who are you?" "Luofei, mother is sorry I let you suffer." Xiong Qihua looked at her daughter in front of her. She did not even know who she was, and thought that her daughter's face was disfigured. Sadness welled up in her heart, and she could not help but sob. There was no need to pretend to come to this rest stop by accident. Xiong Qihua had already completely fallen into self-blame. Ji Luofei felt as if she had been struck by lightning, as she stared at the sad-looking middle-aged beautiful woman in front of her. Only after a good while did she ask, "Are you my mother?" Immediately, Ji Luofei realized that the other party was her mother. It was a natural connection that arose from the bottom of her heart, making it impossible for her to doubt it. "Mother?" Ji Luofei suddenly could not hold back her tears. She had been alone for so many years. Before the change in Ningcheng, she had always been an abandoned corner of the Ning family. Countless times in the past, she had dreamed of returning to her mother's side. There were countless times when she couldn't hold on any longer. She always thought that as long as she lived on, one day, she would be able to find her mother. Now that her mother had appeared in front of her, she even wondered if she was dreaming. The mother and daughter no longer had the estrangement they had when they first met. They hugged each other and cried bitterly. After a long time, Ji Luofei finally remembered that they were still outside. She hurriedly brought her mother into her room. Xiong Qihua had also calmed down a bit at this time. She once again asked, Luofei, what happened to your face? What the hell is going on? She did not wait for Ji Luofei to answer and muttered, Mother is sorry, when you were still holding me in your hands, Mother was cruel enough to leave you. Seeing her mother constantly blaming herself, and constantly muttering to herself, Ji Luofei felt extremely uncomfortable in her heart. She grabbed her mother's hand and choked with sobs as she spoke. Mother, this is not your fault. We were separated in the Dawn Forest. For us to be able to meet again, I am already very happy. Mother, did my father come with you? After asking, Ji Luofei felt that something was wrong. Her mother had come, but her father had not, which meant that something had happened to her father. Thinking of this, her face immediately turned pale and stood up. Mother, what about my father? Did my father not come out of the Dawn Forest? Xiong Qihua also stood up and pulled Ji Luofei's hand and spoke. Luofei, everything is not as you wish, there are always many things. Although your father is gone, but us mother and daughter are able to see each other again. He should be able to rest in peace in the underworld. Ji Luofei fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. She had never seen her father before he died. As a child, what could be more heartbreaking than this? Xiong Qihua helped her daughter up, while her heart was tangled. When she really saw her daughter, she suddenly did not want to lie to her daughter. Her daughter had treated her in such a manner, which meant that she had not spoken about the matter between her and Zhu Hongwen. Did she still want to continue to lie to her daughter? But whenever she wanted to speak the truth, Zhu Hongwen's smiling face would appear in front of her. She knew that as long as she spoke the truth to her daughter, she would never be able to be with her daughter again. She subconsciously stroked her belly. This was the crystallization between her and her beloved. If her daughter did not allow her to continue to be with Hongwen, then when her second child came out, wouldn't he also have to face the situation of not having a father? Only Hongwen's way could make her daughter accept her, and accept Hongwen as her stepfather. Not only her child could not live without Hongwen, but she also could not live without Hongwen. In this world, Hongwen was the only one who loved her. From the first day she met Hongwen, her love for him had never changed. Even if she was forced to marry into the Ji clan, even if she had to stay in the Dawn Forest for more than 10 years, Hongwen was always by her side, and almost never left her sight. Mother, don't be sad. In the future we will go to the Dawn Forest, and pay our respects to my father. Although Ji Luofei was sad, she was still aware that there was something wrong with her mother. Xiong Qihua recovered, rubbed her red and swollen eyes, and said in a sobbing voice, I was trapped in the Dawn Forest for more than 10 years. Although my heart was always thinking of leaving the Dawn Forest, but I simply could not get out of the Dawn Forest. I could only stay in a safe place in the Dawn Forest, and was trapped for more than 10 years. Mother. Ji Luofei thought of her mother being trapped in the Dawn Forest for more than 10 years. Her heart was filled with sadness. She had heard from Ning Cheng that the Dawn Forest was filled with dangers. But fortunately, each monstrous beast had its own territory. If they could find a safe place, then they would be able to barely survive. It could be seen that her mother was doing the same, but she did not need to think about it to know the hardships. Ji Luofei felt sad in her heart, and quickly came over to support Xiong Qihua. But Xiong Qihua consciously stroked her slightly bulging belly. This time Ji Luofei could see it clearly. She immediately asked in surprise, Mother, you're? She did not dare to ask, but her mind was completely blank. Her lower abdomen was slightly bulging. This was obviously a symptom of pregnancy. Her father was not here. How could her mother be pregnant? When Xiong Qihua heard Ji Luofei's words, her face turned incomparably pale. She raised her hand and grabbed a dagger, and was about to stab her neck. Ji Luofei panicked and cried out in horror. Mother, you! She simply did not have time to think, and immediately grabbed Xiong Qihua's hand, unexpectedly stopping the weak and powerless Xiong Qihua. Xiong Qihua's dagger fell to the ground with a ding-dang sound. She sat down in a very decadent manner and muttered, Luofei, I am sorry to your father. I am also sorry to you. I don't even have the courage to commit suicide. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Ji Luofei muttered to herself. She did not know why this kind of thing happened when she and her mother met. Xiong Qihua seemed to be explaining to Ji Luofei, but also seemed to be talking to herself. That day I left my residence a little bit, but did not expect to encounter a Class 3 monstrous beast. I was attacked by the monstrous beast, and was seriously injured. When I was desperately trying to escape, a person suddenly came to my rescue. I did not think that there would be someone else in the Dawn Forest, and was very happy in my heart. As long as there is someone here, it means that I would most likely be able to leave the Dawn Forest. Because I was already injured, coupled with the poisonous gas from the monstrous beast, I fainted. Ji Luofei had already forgotten about her mother's pregnancy, and nervously asked, "What happened next?" Later that person found my residence, sent me back, and then helped me heal. Xiong Qihua spoke in a mournful tone. Ji Luofei did not hear her mother's tone, and still gratefully said, "Then I really have to thank that person, fortunately I met him." Xiong Qihua spoke in a sad tone. "If I could do it again, I would rather face that monstrous beast alone, rather than being saved by him. Although that person saved me, but he was also affected by the poisonous gas from the monstrous beast. That monstrous beast's poisonous gas contained an obscene poison. When he was healing me, he was finally unable to hold himself back, and forced himself on me. Ji Luofei finally understood what was going on. A benefactor had saved her mother, but the result was that her benefactor was also affected by the poisonous gas from the monstrous beast, and forced himself on her mother. Should she hate the other party, or should she thank the other party? Xiong Qihua looked at her daughter's dull expression, and knew that her husband's words were correct. Zhu Hongwen thought that since Ning Xiaocheng and Luofei had lived together for such a long time, and Luofei was still a virgin, it indicated that Ning Xiaocheng was a man of integrity in the matters between men and women, or was good at deceiving others. There had to be a reason to forcefully have a relationship with someone. After I woke up, I desperately resisted, but the wood had already been turned into a boat. No matter how much I resisted, I could not change the fact. But at this time, housekeeper Zhu, who was struggling to find me in the Dawn Forest, finally found me because of my voice. After that person was seriously injured, although he was not a match for housekeeper Zhu, but he still managed to escape. My pitiful body was forcibly taken by that person, and was even seen clearly by a housekeeper. Xiong Qihua seemed to be unable to bear the sadness in her heart, and burst into tears. Ji Luofei also cried and hugged her mother. Her heart also felt sad for her mother's sad fate. After the two of them cried for a long time, Ji Luofei asked while sobbing, "Mother, do you know who that person was?" Xiong Qihua wiped her red and swollen eyes and said while sobbing, "He seemed to have said that he was called Ning Xiaocheng." "What?" When Ji Luofei heard the name Ning Xiaocheng, she immediately felt a sweet taste in her mouth, and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 104. Ning Cheng is Ning Xiaocheng. He had just passed through the Dawn Forest. It's me. Ji Luofei was finally unable to speak about the relationship between her and Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng picked up the marriage vow, and suddenly felt a bit bitter. Why did all the girls he was with had to say goodbye in such an inexplicable way? Ji Luofei had left behind the marriage vow. It was clear that she no longer had anything to do with him. Ning Cheng grabbed the marriage vow in his hands. An indescribable loneliness rose in his heart. From the bottom of his heart, he still cared about Ji Luofei. Once, she had regarded Ning Cheng as her only relative. Even her paternal aunt Ji Yao he could not be compared to Ning Cheng. However, her mother brought her an unacceptable fact, which made it impossible for her to be together with Ning Cheng. "Mother, I must go see Ning Cheng again. I cannot live without him." After walking out of the Moze city, Ji Luofei finally could not suppress the desire and hesitation in her heart. She had to see Ning Cheng again. She did not know when it started, but she could not bear to live without Ning Cheng. But Xiong Qihua did not expect that after her daughter heard the news, she would immediately spit out a mouthful of blood. Even her breathing would become chaotic. "It doesn't matter if you do not believe me, but you must not hurt your own foundation." Xiong Qihua was really scared. In case her daughter's cultivation foundation was damaged, what could she do? The restriction at the door of the room suddenly opened. Ning Cheng was suddenly awakened from his endless contemplation. He had just looked up when he saw a familiar figure rushing over and throwing herself into his arms. "Mother, did you know that I know Ningqing?" Ji Luofei suddenly felt that something was wrong. Ningqing wearily entered the Moze city and immediately went to the rest stop that he was staying at. In these past few days, his harvest was not small. Not only did he obtain many good things, but his cultivation had also advanced to the great circle of true condensation second level. He wanted to use the remaining few days to stabilize his cultivation. Xiong Qihua felt guilty in her heart. She lowered her head and remained silent. She did not know how to explain it to Luofei. In fact, in her heart, Ning Xiaocheng was a good person and was completely worthy of her daughter. But there was no turning back. It has already come to this point. If she went back on her words, then the traces between her and her daughter would be difficult to make up for. Xiong Qihua secretly sighed in her heart. Her daughter has not experienced the ways of the world. There are some things that she is still unable to understand. She could only slowly guide her daughter to mention the matter of her child's adoptive father. Fortunately, her daughter finally agreed to leave with her. It would be best if he never saw that guy called Ningqing again. The words that Xiong Qihua was looking forward to were not spoken by Ji Luofei. On the contrary, she could feel her daughter's uneasiness and unwillingness to leave. "Luofei, what's wrong with you?" Xiong Qihua hurriedly supported her daughter, who seemed to be about to fall, as she spoke in an incomparably flustered tone. "Mother, let's go." Ji Luofei forcibly suppressed the pain in the depths of her heart, as she spoke in a calm tone while supporting Xiong Qihua. Ji Luofei slowly calmed down. Even if it was a sad thing, there would always be a time when it would calm down. Her mother lowered her head in silence. She thought that one of her mother's actions was because she had let down her father, and the other was because she had let down herself. Since Ningqing and her knew each other, then his mother should have heard it. Xiong Qihua murmured, "But the two of us, mother and daughter, no matter where we go, we will be laughed at. Should I go and persuade her to come back?" Zhu Hongwen looked at Ji Luofei's back as she walked away. Ji Luofei's mind was already fraught with anxiety because of her mother's matter, and her heart was in turmoil. At this time, when she suddenly heard that this person was her closest relative, Ningqing, it was equivalent to a sudden sneak attack on her. This kind of anxiety had finally reached a critical point, and she was completely unable to accept it. She could not bear to part with her daughter, and could not bear to part with her man. She even had such an idea popping up in her mind, that she could not tell Luofei about Zhu Hongwen's matter. However, she immediately discarded this idea. If she really dared to say such a thing, then she would never be able to meet her daughter again. "Go. Where are we going? Where can I go?" Xiong Qihua felt even more guilty in her heart. She felt that she had done something wrong. She felt that she had done something wrong, and that she would never be able to let down her daughter. Regardless of whether he could return to Earth in this lifetime, Ji Luofei was one of the most important people in his life. After she had come out from the desert with Ningqing, she had vowed that she would believe in Ningqing. Xiong Qihua silently turned around and slowly walked away from the Moze city. Her body was incomparably desolate. He did not even need to pick it up to look at it. Ningqing knew that this marriage certificate belonged to both him and Ji Luofei. It was obvious that his original copy was also kept by Ji Luofei. Before, he had thought that his own marriage certificate had already been burned to the ground, but he had never thought that it would always be with Ji Luofei. "Luofei, I have found you, and have fulfilled a wish in my heart. I just want to abort the child, and live in seclusion with you," Xiong Qihua said with a sigh. It was when Tian Muwan had heartlessly left him, and he had walked alone on the high road, when he was hit by the yellow beam of light. When he was at his most desolate and helpless, it was Ji Luofei who had carried him on her back, and then brought him back to the black stone house. Seeing her mother's indecisive eyes, Ji Luofei felt extremely sad in her heart. She believed that her mother would never lie to her. But in the depths of her heart, she was unable to produce even half a shred of hatred towards Ningqing. This kind of feeling was something that she could not explain clearly. Ningqing had only done that kind of thing under the influence of his lust. Not to mention that he had also saved her mother's life. Ji Luofei did not answer her mother's words. She was sluggish for a long time and then murmured, I don't believe it. Ningqing is definitely not such a person. After experiencing the matter with Tianmu Wan, Ningqing had never thought about the matters between men and women, and also did not want to think about it. If not for the fact that Ji Luofei and him were an engaged couple, he would not have had such contact with Ji Luofei. After she walked out of the Moze city, the feeling of wanting to see Ningqing became even more intense. Her heart suddenly leaned towards Ningqing. She did not want to leave the Moze city, or rather, she did not want to be further away from Ningqing. Now Ji Luofei and Tianmu Wan were saying their goodbyes, without any reason, without any explanation, and without even half a shred of hesitation. At that moment, he felt an unprecedented tranquility. He did not even feel the shock of suddenly arriving in a strange world. Luofei. Ningqing quickly embraced Ji Luofei in his arms. His heart unexpectedly was filled with an indescribable joy. He had once thought that he and Ji Luofei were just friends, but after Ji Luofei left behind the marriage certificate, he knew that he already had Ji Luofei's shadow in his heart. After losing it, only then did he know how precious it was. Ningqing's first reaction was that Ji Luofei had gone to look for him. He almost took a few steps and arrived at Ji Luofei's secluded room. Then he saw the closed-up marriage certificate. After she had followed her mother out of the Moze city, she met the housekeeper Zhu Hongwen, and the uneasy feeling in her heart became even more intense. In the depths of her heart, there was a strong desire. Even if she had to leave, she wanted to see Ningqing and ask him about this matter. Without hearing Ningqing's words with her own ears, she could not feel at ease in her heart. Seeing her daughter return to the Moze city after saying a few words, Xiong Qihua rubbed her eyes, as she secretly sighed in her heart. She knew that she had already lost her daughter. Ningqing. Ji Luofei whimpered. At this time she had already completely forgotten about the matter between Ningqing and her mother. Seeing her daughter vomit blood, Xiong Qihua was greatly shocked. At this time she regretted speaking those words. She and Zhu Hongwen had already calculated everything, but they had not calculated the reaction of Luofei when she heard the news. In their view, when Luofei heard the news other than anger, she would not have even half a shred of expectation towards Ningqing. Mother, we have our own life. Why should we be afraid of others laughing at us? Ji Luofei finished her sentence, as she suddenly felt a strong sense of uneasiness. She had a feeling that as long as she left Ningqing, she and Ningqing would no longer have any fate. But deep in her heart, she refused to doubt her own mother. At the same time she also refused to doubt Ningqing. He had never used this chi-gathering stone, and had always kept it by his side. Today Ji Luofei had placed the two halves of the marriage certificate in front of him, causing Ningqing to feel a sense of sadness in his heart. He once again took out the chi-gathering stone that Ji Luofei had left for him, but remained silent. Ji Luofei did not understand the meaning behind Xiong Qihua's words, and did not take the initiative to ask the housekeeper Hongwen to pretend to accompany Xiong Qihua. She just said to Xiong Qihua, "Mother, let's find a distant city to live in seclusion, and then." Her aunt was also her relative. When her aunt had taken her away, she had almost never been able to see Ningqing again. Her mother was even closer to her than her aunt, but after she saw her mother, she always had a feeling in her heart that Ningqing was her closest relative. Xiong Qihua shook her head. "No, I feel that Luofei's choice is right, let's go. I am not worthy to be her mother, Ningqing took out a jade box from his storage bag, and then took out a dark yellow stone from the jade box. He held the stone in his hand in a daze. This chi-gathering stone was the first chi-gathering stone that he had obtained after coming to the Yixing mainland. This was something that Ji Luofei had risked her life to obtain from the fighting pot. Ji Luofei herself was not willing to use it. Her purpose was to let his cultivation speed up a bit. Ji Luofei really did not have the courage to let Xiong Qihua give birth to her younger brother or sister. Holding the dark yellow chi-gathering stone in his hand, the scene that appeared in Ningqing's mind was not that of Ji Luofei giving him the chi-gathering stone, nor was it the scene of Ji Luofei saving him from the shriveled palm in the desert, but rather the scene of Ji Luofei carrying him on her back and slowly returning home. Xiong Qihua immediately knew that she was worried about her daughter, and had inadvertently spoken out with a huge flaw, and immediately asked in a daze, "Who is Ningqing?" "Don't Ji Luofei's first reaction was unexpectedly a strong objection. Only with what she had said a moment ago would her daughter take the initiative to ask Zhu Hong when to be the nominal father of the unborn child. Chapter 105. Ji Luofei had thought of many ways to calm Ningqing down, but when she saw Ningqing, she could not remember even a single one of them. But when she saw Ningqing holding the marriage certificate in one hand and the qi gathering stone in the other, she completely forgot that she had come back to ask Ningqing about it. Or rather, she had come back to see Ningqing. What happened? You want to give me the marriage certificate, and then leave alone? Ningqing stroked Ji Luofei's hair. His heart was filled with pity. When he first came to this world, he knew that he and Ji Luofei were not people of the same world, and took the initiative to dissolve the marriage. But now his cultivation was far higher than Ji Luofei's. Moreover, he also had feelings for Ji Luofei. He was a person who cherished the feelings of adversity. Because of this, he did not understand why Ji Luofei left without saying goodbye. Similarly, for Ji Luofei to come back, he felt a lot more comfortable in his heart. Ji Luofei felt Ningqing's warm embrace. She suddenly reached out and touched the qi gathering stone in Ningqing's hand, and softly said, "You still have this?" "Yes, I still have it." Ningqing felt that Ji Luofei's chaotic mood had calmed down. He knew that something must have happened to Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei did not know how to bring up this matter. She had intended to ask Ningqing, and even tell Ningqing, the fact that he already had a child, and then quietly leave. However, she found that after she saw Ningqing, she could no longer leave. Since she could not leave, she did not dare to speak about this matter. She believed that her mother would not lie to her, but she was completely unable to accept this fact. Even thinking about it, it was still incomparably terrifying. Once again aware of Ji Luofei's panic, Ningqing suddenly patted Ji Luofei's back and asked, "Did someone come to look for you?" "How do you know?" Ji Luofei's rhetorical question exposed the truth of Ningqing's question. Ningqing was slightly surprised. "Was it your aunt who came to look for you? Did she ask you to agree to the Shui clan's request?" Ji Luofei shook her head. "No, I would rather believe you than believe in my aunt. In my heart, you are more important than my aunt. Just follow me." Ji Luofei's heart was already filled with dependence. Or rather, Ningqing's words had already been planted in her heart. Ningqing's thoughts were much more meticulous compared to Ji Luofei, so when Ji Luofei said that she believed in him, Ningqing immediately knew that the one who came to look for Ji Luofei was definitely Xiong Qihua. Only Ji Luofei's mother was closer to her than her aunt, and only her mother could make Ji Luofei leave him. Moreover, he had met Ji Luofei's mother, and had an unpleasant experience with her. "Did your mother come to see you?" Ningqing immediately asked. Ji Luofei trembled. She quickly pushed Ningqing away, and with a pale face she nodded and said, "Yes, my mother came to find me. She said that she had seen you in the Dawn Forest." "That's right, I really did see your mother in the Dawn Forest. Moreover, I also..." Ningqing originally wanted to tell Ji Luofei about the matter of Zhu Hongwen and Xiong Qihua, but thinking that this matter would definitely not be a small blow to Ji Luofei, as such he did not say it out loud. "Ningqing, you towards my mother. Do you know who she is?" Ji Luofei asked with a pale face, as she secretly trembled as she looked at Ningqing. She was hoping that Ningqing would say that it was a lie, that he had not laid his hands on her mother. She also unconsciously believed from the bottom of her heart that her mother would not lie to her. Ningqing did not know what Xiong Qihua had said to Ji Luofei. He sighed and said, "Luofei, when I saw your mother, I knew that she was your mother, Xiong Qihua." Ji Luofei's tears fell like rain. "Since you knew that she was my mother, why did you still lay your hands on her?" But she could not blame Ningqing. She simply did not know what she should do at this moment. Ji Luofei's memory of her mother was very deep, but her emotions were very indifferent. At this time, Ji Luofei even wanted to say to Ningqing that he would take her to a place where there was no one around, and that she would never come out again. But she was unable to say these words. She suddenly felt that she was completely redundant. Ningqing looked at the crying Ji Luofei. He did not know how to comfort her, and could only say, "In fact, when I knew that Xiong Qihua was your mother, I gave you face, and did not lay my hands on her. If your mother said that I had hurt her, then I would have been helpless. The reason why I did not tell you about meeting your mother was not because of guilt, nor was it because I had hurt her. Ningqing guessed that Xiong Qihua might have added oil to the fire in front of Ji Luofei, saying that he had seriously injured her, and then asked him to leave Ji Luofei. Even if Ningqing thought about it, he would not have thought that Zhu Hongwen's plan was several times more excessive than what he had thought. If not for Ji Luofei's reluctance to part with Ningqing, Zhu Hongwen's plan would have already succeeded. You said that you did not touch my mother? Then after you saved my mother, and even if you were not poisoned, that child was not yours? Ji Luofei's voice trembled, as she threw out a few questions in succession. Even before Ningqing answered, she thought that Ningqing was not lying to her. Wait, Ningqing quickly stopped Ji Luofei's questions. When did I save your mother? I was just passing by the place where your mother lived in the Dawn Forest. Moreover, I was not poisoned. I was not even afraid of the poisonous gas of the sand poison beast. So how could I be poisoned by ordinary poisons? And what about the child? What the hell is going on? After asking these questions, Ningqing had already guessed that perhaps Xiong Qihua had a child, and had said in front of Ji Luofei that the child was his. If that was the case, then this woman was really not worthy to be a mother. Ji Luofei was not a fool. When she heard Ningqing's words, she immediately knew that her mother was most likely lying to her. Thinking back to her mother's unnatural speech, and how coincidental it was for her to find the rest stop. Moreover, her mother and Zhu Hongwen were together, and it seemed that her father's death was not very sad. She completely understood what was going on. I'm sorry, I almost left you. Ji Luofei was unable to contain her emotions, and once again threw herself into Ningqing's arms. For her, she would rather Ningqing was telling the truth, and her mother had lied to her. When you saw my mother in the Dawn Forest, did you also see that Zhu Hongwen? As Ji Luofei thought of these things, her heart once again felt like it was being cut by a sharp knife. Now that she understood the truth of the matter, she knew that her mother's words to her were somewhat contradictory. Ningqing patted Ji Luofei's shoulder. He knew that Ji Luofei already understood what was going on. Since Ji Luofei understood, then there was no need to continue to talk about this matter. Luofei, in my hometown there is an ancient adage, the son should not speak of his father's mistakes. This matter is not worth mentioning. I will not explain the details of this matter. Remember to believe my words. I have not done anything wrong to you or your parents. I believe you. Ji Luofei completely calmed down. Apart from Ningqing, her aunt wanted to marry her into the Shui clan, and her mother, who she had just met, unexpectedly lied to her for an outsider. At this time in her heart, only Ningqing was worthy of her trust. Fortunately, deep in her heart, she still believed in Ningqing. Otherwise she would not have come back. Your hometown? Ji Luofei was no longer disturbed by other things, and her thoughts immediately became clear. Ningqing knew that he had spilled the beans. He somewhat embarrassedly scratched his head and said, "This matter is a long story. I will explain it to you later. And Ningqing, in the future when your cultivation is high enough, you can take me to the Dawn Forest to worship my father, and then we." Ji Luofei suddenly thought of her own appearance, and was finally unable to speak about the matter of marriage. Ningqing knew the meaning of Ji Luofei's words. He wanted to wait until his cultivation was high enough, and then see if he could return to Earth. If when he got married, he could let his younger sister participate in it, that would be great. Moreover, he also had a thought in his mind, and that was to restore Ji Luofei's appearance. Feeling that Ji Luofei in his arms was getting softer and softer, Ningqing finally could not help but lower his head and kiss Ji Luofei's lips. The moment she touched Ningqing's lips, Ji Luofei felt her mind go blank. She subconsciously tightened her arms around Ningqing, and clumsily returned the kiss. For them, this was the first time. Chapter 106. Under this happy mood, Ningqing unexpectedly broke through from the true condensation second level to the true condensation third level. He had just stabilized his cultivation, and did not even have the time to celebrate with Ji Luofei, when Lu Xian from the God Wind 5-Star Academy came looking for him. That's right. right now. I can only hope that the reason why you scored 100 points in the previous exam was not because you had seen these things, but because of your memory, Lucien said with a wry smile. Ningqing interrupted Lucien's words. Deacon Liu, the Academy's facilities assessment, how many points did our God-Wind Academy get? Deacon Liu, please speak, I will definitely do my best in the semifinals. After Ningqing felt relieved, he decided to help the God-Wind Academy. Ningqing nodded and spoke. If that's the case, then the choice would indeed be somewhat troublesome. They had not even started, but the score of the God-Wind Academy was already at the bottom. Ningqing frowned and said, this score is really not high, compared to the first place Falling Star Academy. They unexpectedly have a difference of more than 30 points. What about the other matches? How do they compete? Deacon Liu, the great meet has not yet started, so you don't have to worry about it. Maybe we still have a chance. Ningqing comforted him. Ningqing chuckled and spoke. It looks like I am participating in the God-Wind Academy's memory test. At this time, only 7 days had passed since the semifinals. Lucien sighed and said, not only does it have an impact, it has a huge impact. Our God-Wind Academy has also recently found some good seedlings. If we hold the great meet 2 years from now, and compete for the position of a 6-star academy, then there would still be a glimmer of hope. Now that the Angry Axe Valley had suddenly opened in advance, the Hua continent's 5-star academies had to follow the requirements of the other 5-star academies, so the tournament had also been brought forward to now. But if the tournament starts now, my God-Wind Academy absolutely does not have the qualifications. Lucien spoke with some anxiousness. Ning Xiaocheng, this time there has been some unforeseen events. Originally the Angry Axe Valley would only open after 2 years, but a few days ago I don't know what happened, but the smoke from the illusion array outside suddenly dispersed. The smoke outside the Angry Axe Valley has already dispersed. It means that in at most a month's time, the Angry Axe Valley will open. The quota for the Angry Axe Valley in the entire lower-class continent was 20 people, of which the 6-star academies that would be selected would have 5 spots. The second place would have 3 spots, the third and fourth place would have 2 spots, and the fifth place would only have 1 spot. The rest of the spots will be divided among the other academies in sections. After a pause, Lucien sincerely spoke to Ningqing. Ning Xiaocheng, I will not hide it from you now. The God-Wind Academy is no longer worthy of its name. It is even inferior to some of the 4-star academies. My God-Wind Academy's only profound core cultivator is Dean Zong. A few years ago, he was seriously injured and went into seclusion, and he is still unable to come out. After this incident, the window paper between Ningqing and Ji Luofei was pierced through. Saying that, Ningqing felt that something was wrong, as he once again asked, Deacon Liu, the Angry Axe Valley will open ahead of time, and our 5-star tournament will also open ahead of time. Is it because after the 5-star tournament, the outstanding people will have the opportunity to enter the Angry Axe Valley? If it was said that Ningqing only had some feelings for Ji Luofei, then Ji Luofei did not hesitate to return to Ningqing, causing Ji Luofei's shadow to be branded in his heart. After experiencing the matter with Tian Muwan, this was the first time that Ningqing truly let another girl walk into his heart. Regarding the strength of the Shui clan, Ji Luofei had already told him about it. They had a profound core cultivator, whose strength was in no way inferior to a 5-star academy. Deacon Liu, does the early opening of the Angry Axe Valley have any impact on our God-Wind Academy? Ningqing asked as he did not understand. Lucien spoke with annoyance. It is this matter. If 2 years from now, even if we are not able to get the first place in the 5-star tournament, we would definitely not end up in the last place. But with the tournament being brought forward, the competitiveness of our God-Wind Academy would immediately drop by a lot. Ningqing also thought about it. The Shui clan was after all one of the 7 great clans of the Hua continent. As such they would not retaliate against the 2 of them for Luofei. Moreover, they would also not offend the God-Wind Academy for such a trivial matter. After all, Luofei had not agreed to any of the requests of the Shui clan. She had not even seen the people from the Shui clan. Ningqing immediately remembered the things that he and the old woman had done in the Forbidden Cold River a few days ago. Could it be that the immortal mansion had been moved by the white-haired old woman? As a result, the Angry Axe Valley had opened ahead of time? According to the old woman, the immortal mansion in the forbidden cold river had appeared together with the Angry Axe Valley. That's right, some of the academies have powerful cultivations, but their memory and comprehension ability are not very strong. If that's the case, then the academies would not only need to choose powerful disciples to participate in the tournament, but they would also need to choose some disciples with strong memory. Lucien said in agreement. Lucien hurriedly explained. I did not make it clear, each of the academies that choose 5 people must be below the essence building realm, and must be under 30 years of age. Deacon Liu, can you tell me about the rules of the 5-star tournament, as well as how to participate? When Ningcheng heard that he still had the opportunity to enter the Angry Axe Valley, he immediately became interested. He did not believe that if he helped the God Wind Academy to obtain a place in the tournament, then the God Wind Academy would not give him a spot. Ningcheng knew, if that was really the case, then he would have to show his true strength. Fortunately, Ningcheng did not care about it. In the first written exam he had done one less question. Now that he had joined the God Wind Academy, if it was not a last resort, he did not need to hide his true strength. On the surface, the God Wind Academy is stronger than the Shui clan, but in terms of real strength, the God Wind Academy is indeed not as good as the Shui clan. But my God Wind Academy has been established for thousands of years, so we are not afraid of a trivial Shui clan. Did you offend the Shui clan? Lucien was an old fox. With just a few casual words from Ningcheng, he had already guessed 1 or 2 things. Wouldn't that mean that each academy would send their most powerful person to the tournament? Ningcheng felt that it was not that simple. Lucien immediately said, so it was this kind of thing. Then you can rest assured, the Shui clan would not go so far as to offend my God Wind Academy for this kind of thing. Now I will talk to you about the tournament of the 5-star academies. Ningcheng frowned. He had intended to use the tournament in 2 years to get a place in the Angry Axe Valley, but now it seems that there was no hope for him. He was just a nobody, and would absolutely not be able to get a place in the Angry Axe Valley. But the Angry Axe Valley was going to open in advance, so why did Lucien come looking for him? Ningcheng had the most powerful memory in the God Wind Academy. If Ningcheng did not rely on his memory to pass the exam, then the God Wind Academy would really be in danger. Lucien had come here to ask for Ningcheng's full help. Now that Ningcheng asked, he quickly explained in detail. A senior from the Jia continent thought that the tournament of the 5-star academy should be held as soon as possible. It would be best if a 6-star academy could be selected within a few days. So the tournament is divided into 2 parts. The first part is the evaluation of the academy's facilities. This has already been evaluated. Lucien nodded and said, the second round of the selection of disciples for the 5-star academies has been cancelled. The top 100 students who were supposed to participate in the second round will directly enter the 5-star academies as the winners. 3 days later, the tournament of the 5-star academies will be held. After the tournament, a 6-star academy will be selected on the spot, and then 20 people will be selected to enter the Angry Axe Valley. The Angry Axe Valley only opens once in many years. The resources and the good things inside are simply unimaginable. The cultivators from the intermediate class continents and advanced class continents that enter the Angry Axe Valley are beyond our control. But in the lower class continents, the more people that enter the Angry Axe Valley, the greater the potential for future development. Ningcheng did not conceal anything, and spoke about Ji Luofei's matter. After discussing some of the details of the tournament with Ningcheng in detail, Lucien finally left Ningcheng's residence. If Ningcheng was able to show his bravery in the tournament of the 5-star academies, then the God Wind Academy would have a promising future. Deacon Liu, I was originally worried that a woman from the Falling Star Academy would know that I had come here, so I changed my name to Ning Xiaocheng. But now I am not afraid of her. Deacon Liu can just call me by my original name Ningcheng. According to Deacon Liu's words, wouldn't the strength of the God Wind Academy be even worse than the Shui clan of the Moze city? Ningcheng suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. He had joined the God Wind Academy in order to seek a backer. If the God Wind Academy was not as good as the Shui clan, then what kind of backer was he looking for? The second round was the tournament of comprehension. It was still the same 5 people who participated. Finally, the examinees from each of the academies will be chosen with the highest score, as the score for that academy in the second round, and will be added to the total score. The third round is the tournament of duels. Whoever wins the most matches will have a higher score. The specific rules of the third round will have to wait for the Great Elder to personally announce it. Lu Xian said with some embarrassment. The total score is also 100 points. Our God Wind Academy has 41 points. The highest score is the Falling Star Academy, with 75 points, followed by the Clear Sky Academy with 60 points, the Luohua Academy with 55 points, and the Thunder Academy with 53 points. Lu Xian continued to reply. The next 3 rounds of the second part of the tournament, each academy can only choose a maximum of 5 people to participate in the tournament. Once these 5 people are selected, they will have to participate in all 3 rounds of the tournament, and are not allowed to change people in the middle of the tournament. The first round is still the same as the Tournament of Memory. The Great Elder from the intermediate class continents will personally come up with the questions. The highest score will be taken as the score for the academy in the first round of the tournament. Our God Wind Academy is counting on you to help us get the highest score in this round, and pull the gap between us and the other academies. Deacon Lu, isn't there still a few days until the semifinals? Ningqing opened the restriction and found that Lu Xian had personally come over, and immediately asked with some doubts. Chapter 107. Today was the day of the tournament of the 5-star academies. Ningqing and Ji Luofei had already checked out of their rooms, and headed towards the Moz Grand Plaza. The Moz city was very lively and bustling, although the two of them came out early in the morning, but the streets were still filled with people. Ningqing, I'm going inside to buy a few clothes, Ji Luofei said as she pointed to a women's clothing shop not far from them. Ningqing looked at the women's clothing shop, and immediately said, Okay, you go ahead, I'll wait for you here. Ji Luofei and him lived together in the rest stop. In order to avoid some unnecessary things, they had never come out of the rest stop. Now that they came out, it was only right for them to buy a few clothes to wear. Standing outside the clothing shop, Ningqing looked around. Since he had obtained the foundation of alchemy, he had always wanted to buy a pill furnace, but he had never gone out. He wanted to see if there was an artifact shop around. If there was, then when Ji Luofei came out, they could go together. Ningqing did not see an artifact shop, but he saw a bald cultivator at true condensation 3rd level. The reason why he was paying attention to this cultivator was because his spiritual consciousness could feel that this bald cultivator was wearing a jade bracelet on his wrist. This jade bracelet had a familiar aura. When Ningqing felt this aura, he immediately remembered the Imperial Jade Seal that he had obtained. The jade bracelet and the Imperial Jade Seal had the same aura. That is to say, these two things came from the same place. Ningqing was moved in his heart, and immediately followed. He did not recklessly ask where the jade bracelet on the bald cultivator's wrist came from. He felt that this bald cultivator was very strange, which made Ningqing feel extremely uncomfortable. The bald cultivator walked along the way, and from time to time inquired about the prices of some of the stalls on the side of the road. Just when Ningqing made up his mind to ask about it, he suddenly heard a loud noise. Ningqing turned around and saw Ji Luofei being cornered in the corner of the street. Not only was the veil on her face missing, but there were also a few bloodstains on her face. Ningqing's anger immediately rushed up. He no longer cared about tracking the bald cultivator's jade bracelet, and immediately rushed towards Ji Luofei's side. When Ningqing turned around and rushed towards Ji Luofei, that bald cultivator unexpectedly looked back at Ningqing, while frowning. Then he looked at the jade bracelet in his hand and revealed a cold smile. He turned around and squeezed into the crowd, disappearing in an instant. Ugly slut. Rejecting elder brother you is only a matter of your eyes being blind, but you actually dare to proclaim that elder brother you is not worthy of you. Today I, your father, want to see how arrogant this slut is. A man in his 20s, at the Qi gathering 9th level with thin eyes spoke out, as he grabbed Ji Luofei's clothes with one hand. It was obvious that he wanted to tear Ji Luofei's clothes apart. There were many onlookers around, but none of them stepped forward to persuade him. They were all watching the show. Some people didn't even dare to step forward, and just watched from afar. Ning Cheng had already arrived at the side of the Qi-gathering realm cultivator, as he raised his hand and punched out. Ka! A bloody mist sprayed out. This Qi-gathering 9th-level narrow-eyed man's arm that was trying to grab Ji Luofei was unexpectedly turned into a bloody mist by Ning Cheng. This man at the Qi-gathering 9th level issued a mournful scream. Not waiting for him to react, Ning Cheng raised his hand and slapped him a few times in the face. Pa 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 pa. This Qi-gathering 9th level narrow-eyed man's face and teeth were all smashed by Ning Cheng's slaps, as his blood splashed all over his body. Young Master gone. A late-stage Qi-gathering realm cultivator, who was dressed as a servant, quickly came forward to help the narrow-eyed man up. After calling out to young Master gone, he immediately pointed his finger at Ning Cheng's nose and shouted, "You dare to touch young Master gone, you?" Perhaps he was too angry, to the point that he couldn't even speak a complete sentence. Ning Cheng immediately kicked out with his foot, directly sending the servant who was pointing at him flying with a kick. Then he didn't even bother to look at the two guys, and stepped forward to support Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei's eyes were filled with worry as she looked at Ning Cheng and said, "I'm fine, that person was Shui Yu's cousin from the Shui clan, called Shui Fenggan. When he saw me a moment ago, he immediately wanted to take me away. He said that I was slandering his cousin Shui Yu outside, and I refused to go with him, so he immediately started to beat me. The elder brother next to me saw me being beaten, and begged for mercy from the side. Shui Fenggan immediately killed him, and even used a fireball to burn him to ashes on the spot." Saying that, Ji Luofei's eyes turned red. This was a person she did not know, but this person actually died for her. Ning Cheng then noticed that there was a pile of ashes not far from Ji Luofei. His heart was immediately filled with a strong killing intent. He came from Earth, and the concept of respect between mortals and cultivators was still relatively weak. He looked back and saw the servant that he had kicked flying was supporting Shui Fenggan to leave. Apparently he knew that continuing to stay here would not be good for him. Ning Cheng took out a jade box, and raised his hand to put away the ashes on the ground, while at the same time he once again blocked the path of Shui Fenggan and said, "Do you want to leave? What do you want? I am a person from the Shui clan." Shui Fenggan's teeth were all knocked out by Ning Cheng. His face was badly mutilated, and even his words were unclear, but the people around him were able to understand the meaning behind his words. "Are the people from the Shui clan that great?" Ning Cheng sarcastically said. The servant with the cultivation of Qi-gathering realm said, "If you dare to make a move on us, then you will never be able to leave the Moze city." "I do not dare to make a move on you." Ning Cheng once again spoke with disdain. Shui Fenggan and the servant did not even have the time to breathe a sigh of relief, when two wind edges chopped towards them. "I only dare to kill you." Puff puff. Two blood sprayed out. Shui Fenggan and the servant beside him were killed by Ning Cheng's two wind edges. All the people around them were shocked. No one could have thought that there would be someone who would dare to kill the people from the Shui clan in the Moze city. Moreover, he even dared to kill them in such an arrogant manner. After Ning Cheng killed Shui Fenggan, he knew that he could not stay here for long. He had to return to the Godwind Academy as soon as possible. Only then would he be able to guarantee his safety. So after Ning Cheng killed the two people from the Shui clan, he immediately took Ji Luofei and quickly left. It was not until Ning Cheng was far away that people started to talk about it. The other people knew that the people from the Shui clan would soon come here. As such, they did not dare to talk about Shui Fenggan's corpse. "I remember, that man from a moment ago seemed to be Ning Xiaocheng. That's right, he joined the Godwind Academy, and is now a core disciple of the Godwind Academy. No wonder he was not afraid of the Shui clan. He turned out to be a core disciple of the Godwind Academy." Some of the people in the crowd had already recognized Ning Cheng. Even if he was a core disciple of the Godwind Academy, killing the people from the Shui clan, I estimate that it would still be enough. Someone whispered from the side. Although there were a lot of discussions, but no one dared to say anything wrong with the disciples of the Shui clan. When Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei arrived at the Moze Grand Plaza, the number of people here was even more than the number of people who had participated in the written exam. Although today was not the day when the disciples of the 5-star academies would be selected, but it was the more important tournament of the 5-star academies. The Hua continent wanted to select a 6-star academy to rule over the entire low-class continent. Because the Angry Axe Valley was opened in advance, the tournament of the 5-star academies was also held in advance. Most of the people were clear. The reason why the tournament of the 5-star academies was held in advance was mainly because the 6-star academy was about to be selected. Since the Angry Axe Valley was opened in advance, then the quota to enter the Angry Axe Valley must be selected first. The quota for the 6-star academies to enter the Angry Axe Valley was the most, and the resources that they would obtain in the future would also be the most. First to select a 6-star academy, then with the cooperation of the resources in the Angry Axe Valley, this 6-star academy would slowly overtake the rest of the 5-star academies, and finally become the leader of the entire low-class continent. After the two of them arrived at the Moz Grand Plaza, Ji Luofei was still very worried. She had stayed in the Moz city for a longer time than Ningcheng, and knew that the power of the Shui clan was very strong. Now that Ningcheng had killed the people from the Shui clan, she was worried that the Shui clan would retaliate against Ningcheng by hook or by crook. Luofei, you don't have to worry. The Shui clan would not go so far as to fall out with the Godwind Academy, just because of a trivial qi-gathering cultivator. Lucien had said that he was not afraid of the Shui clan, so why should he be afraid? Even if the Godwind Academy does not expect us to help them in the tournament, we are still the disciples of the Godwind Academy. The Godwind Academy will not just sit back and do nothing. As long as this matter is reasonable, after the tournament of the 5-star academies, we can go to the Godwind Academy, and we will not be afraid of the revenge of the Shui clan. Even if the Shui clan is powerful, would they be able to break into the Godwind Academy? Not to mention that Ningcheng knew that he would be fine even if he killed Shui Fenggan. The Moz city was still in the midst of the 5-star tournament. The Shui clan would absolutely not dare to cause trouble for the Godwind Academy at this time. If the Shui clan really wanted to cause trouble, then it would be exactly what Ningcheng wanted. He was sure that the powerhouses from the intermediate class continents would not allow such a thing to happen. Once it happened, the Shui clan would most likely be removed from the Moz city. Even if Ningcheng knew that he had killed the people from the Shui clan, he would not hesitate to kill this guy, and then escape to the Thunderfall Desert with Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei was being bullied in front of him. How could he bear it? He did not go to the Shui clan to settle accounts. That was because his strength was not enough. If his strength was strong enough after he killed Shui Fenggan, he would have even gone to the Shui clan to ask for compensation. He had lived with his younger sister Ning Ruolan since childhood, and had been bullied many times. But Ningcheng would always desperately fight back. He was very clear about the truth. If he was bullied once and did not speak up, then the second time he would be bullied even more severely. So he had never been a person who would swallow his anger. If anyone dared to bully him and his younger sister, he would fight back with all his might. Ji Luofei was worried, but she was not worried about herself. She was worried about Ningcheng. Being together with Ningcheng made her feel completely happy. She did not want any accident to happen to Ningcheng. If she was worried about herself, then she would not have killed Xian Yuan Kuei in the Zhongli city to vent Ningcheng's anger. Chapter 108. When Ningcheng arrived at the Godwind Academy station with Ji Luofei, Lucien quickly came up to greet them. As a deacon with the cultivation of profound congealing realm, even if Ningcheng was a core disciple of the Godwind Academy, Lucien's attitude towards Ningcheng could be considered as polite. What made Ningcheng feel strange was that he unexpectedly did not see Zhu Mu'er. Just when Ningcheng was about to ask Zhu Mu'er about it, suddenly a crisp and decisive voice sounded out from the side. Deacon Lu, I want to represent the Godwind Academy in the 5-star tournament. Ningcheng saw that the one who spoke was a female cultivator at true condensation 6th level, with a dark complexion. However, her appearance was very pretty, and she was even more beautiful than Zhu Mu'er. When Lucien saw the female cultivator who spoke, he gave a wry smile and spoke, Meng Jingxiu, in the first round of the tournament, we have Ningcheng as our point. Hearing the name Meng Jingxiu, Ningcheng immediately knew who the other party was. Meng Jingxiu was the 7th person in the preliminary written exam. and was also the person with the highest score in the Godwind Academy before he joined the Godwind Academy. Deacon Liu, this isn't a competition of spiritual roots. My spirit root is indeed slightly inferior, but even in the first round of the written exam, I won't necessarily lose to him. At the very least, my 71 points are completely based on my own memory. I haven't even seen any talisman foundation before. As Meng Jingxiu spoke till here, she deliberately glanced at Ning Cheng, and then continued. Even if I do not score in the first round of the written examination, I can still show good results in the second and third rounds. I'm confident that I won't be inferior to anyone in terms of comprehension or combat. Deacon Liu, you are a profound congealing senior, so you should know that my true essence is much stronger than the average true condensation 6th level cultivators. Ning Cheng was simply too lazy to reply. In his heart he really admired this Meng Jingxiu. This woman's purpose of joining the Godwind Academy should be similar to his own. The strength of the Godwind Academy was the worst. If he did not join, then this Meng Jingxiu would certainly represent the Godwind Academy in the tournament of the 5-star academies. Now that he participated, he directly squeezed out Meng Jingxiu's spot. For Meng Jingxiu to participate in the Godwind Academy's tournament, there was only one purpose, and that was to enter the Angry Axe Valley. This is a woman with a lot of ideas. Moreover, she was not even 30 years old. Moreover, she did not have a pure spiritual root, yet she was able to cultivate to the true condensation 6th level, which meant that she was definitely not an ordinary person. Although Ji Luofei was very dissatisfied with Meng Jingxiu saying that Ning Cheng was not as good as her, but she did not like to bicker with others over such a boring matter. As such, she just frowned and no longer spoke. In her heart, she was still worried about the Shui family. Lu Xian was also in a very difficult situation. He knew that Meng Jingxiu had joined the Godwind Academy in order to enter the Angry Axe Valley. If Meng Jingxiu did not even have the qualifications to participate in the tournament, then with her qualifications, she absolutely would not be able to obtain a quota to enter the Angry Axe Valley. Even if the Godwind Academy took the first place, she would not be able to obtain the quota. At this time, a middle-aged woman arrived beside Lu Xian, took out a letter, and handed it to Lu Xian. After Lu Xian opened the letter and read it, he secretly sighed. He put away the letter, and said to Meng Jingxiu, "In that case, you can also count as one. Ning Cheng, your cultivation is the lowest. As long as you participate in the first 2 rounds, the third round will be mainly scored by Chu Yong Xian, Gu Hong and Min Rui. The second round will be scored by Meng Jingxiu." As long as Meng Jingxiu could participate, she did not care about the other people who participated. She believed in her own ability, and was absolutely not worse than the others. The quota to enter the Angry Axe Valley was very difficult. Even if it was difficult, she still had to work hard. Ning Cheng also did not say anything. After Lu Xian confirmed the 5 people, Ning Cheng pulled Lu Xian to the side and said, "Deacon Liu, I had a small conflict with the people from the Shui clan this morning. During the course of the tournament, I will ask Deacon Liu to help me look after Ji Luofei." Lu Xian knew that the relationship between Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei was not shallow. If their relationship was ordinary, then the two of them would not have stayed in the same room. Now that he heard Ning Cheng's words, he immediately laughed and said, "You can rest assured Luofei is also a disciple of my Godwind Academy. Although my Godwind Academy is at the bottom of the 5-star academies, but we are not afraid of a clan." "That's right. What kind of conflict did you have in the morning?" Ning Cheng gave an awkward smile and said, "I killed a disciple of the Shui clan in the morning. He dared to bully Luofei, so I was a bit heavy." Ah! Lu Xian suddenly felt a bitter taste in his mouth. This was called a small conflict? He had already killed a person from the Shui clan. It would be strange if the Shui clan would let it go. "You can tell me what happened, so that I can be prepared." After knowing that Ning Cheng had killed a person from the Shui clan, Lu Xian also became cautious. In case the Shui clan came looking for trouble, he would not be passive. Ning Cheng did not conceal anything, and completely told him about Ji Luofei's matter. After Lu Xian listened to Ning Cheng's words, he felt relieved and said, "Since your side is in the right, then during the tournament, the Shui clan will not come. After the tournament, we will have to return to the Godwind Academy. And the Shui clan will also not come. But you and Luofei will have to be careful when you go out. The Shui clan will not be so easy to talk to. I understand, Deacon Lu can rest assured. I am not a person who is easy to talk to. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile at the entrance of the Tsongqing Academy. When he was facing Gu Yiming, whose cultivation level was much higher than his, he dared to slap Gu Fei. Now that his cultivation level had risen by countless times, how could his courage become smaller? Lu Xian silently shook his head and said, I knew that you are not a person who is easy to talk to. A person who was easy to talk to absolutely would not be able to obtain the first place in the preliminary round, and in the process of choosing a 5-star academy, he even borrowed a few knives to kill people. The sound tablet on the Moz Grand Plaza suddenly sounded out. The first round of the Hua Continent's 5-star academy tournament is about to begin. Each of the 5-star academies, please send 2 representatives to the main altar in the center of the plaza, and all the cultivators who are watching the match, please stand outside the competition area and quietly wait for the results of the match. If anyone obstructs the competition, they will be killed. In the middle of the plaza, there was an incomparably huge main altar, and in the middle of the main altar sat a man. When Ning Cheng's gaze fell on this man, he immediately felt an inexplicable majesty. He did not even dare to continue to look at this man, not to mention trying to estimate the other party's cultivation level. Nevertheless, Ning Cheng was sure that this man's cultivation level was not as high as that of the white-haired old woman. He guessed that this man should have come from an intermediate-class continent to preside over the selection of the 6-star academies. On both sides of the majestic man's seat, there were 3 people sitting on each side. Looking at the table in front of the 6 people, it should be the judges of the tournament. Below these 7 people were the placards of the 5 5-star academies. Each of the 5-star academies had 2 representatives sitting on them. The Godwind 5-star academy had 2 representatives. In addition to Deacon Lu Xian, there was also a woman with the cultivation of essence building realm. In front of the main altar was an incomparably huge square platform. Ning Cheng looked at the surroundings of the square platform and immediately knew that there were many restrictions. As for the rest of the cultivators who were watching the tournament of the 5-star academies, they could only stand on the periphery of the square platform and the main altar. In addition to that, all the people could see that there were 4 huge array formation projection screens. According to the convention, everyone understood that these 4 array formation projection screens should display the results of the first 3 rounds of the tournament and the final ranking of the 5 5-star academies. The voice of the sound tablet once again sounded out. I invite the 25 participants to enter the square platform and sit in any of the seats and prepare for the first round of the tournament. It was not until this time that all the people in the plaza knew that the first round of the memory competition would be carried out in full view of the public. As the voice of the sound tablet resounded out, the square platform suddenly had 25 seats, and each seat had a small table in front of it. Just like in the 5th written exam that Ning Cheng had participated in before, the 25 tables had 2 pieces of white paper and a pen. Chapter 109. After Ning Cheng handed over the spear to Ji Luofei, he followed the other 4 people from the Godwind Academy to the square platform in front of the main altar. In addition to him and Meng Jingxiu from the Godwind Academy, there were also 3 other people. Gu Hong had a tall stature and was incomparably robust, with the cultivation of true condensation 8th level. Chu Yongxian was the person with the highest cultivation in the Godwind Academy, true condensation 9th level. Min Rui looked the thinnest of the 5, and his cultivation level was only at true condensation 7th level. He did not know why he was placed among the 5 people. Ning Cheng guessed that the Godwind Academy really did not have any outstanding talents. What made Ning Cheng surprised was that out of the 5 people from the Falling Star Academy, he unexpectedly knew 3 of them. Meng Yujing was the woman that Ning Cheng was looking for and had the cultivation of true condensation 7th level. At this moment, there was no veil on her face, revealing an extremely beautiful face. No wonder she was known as the most beautiful girl in the Falling Star Academy. Ning Cheng estimated that even in the entire Moz city, there was no one more beautiful than her. Following closely behind Meng Yujing was a young girl. This young girl was also staring at Ningcheng. Ningcheng nodded to her, but the girl frowned and turned her head away. Ningcheng did not think that the Falling Star Academy would send Yu Ying to the stage for the first round of the tournament. Yu Ying's cultivation level was only at the Qi Gathering 6th level. As such, she could only participate in the first or second round of the tournament. But thinking that Yu Ying was at the Qi Gathering 6th level, Ningcheng's heart jumped. Wasn't this speed too fast? When he had first met Yu Ying had not yet started cultivating. Yet in a blink of an eye she had already reached the Qi Gathering 6th level. One had to know that he was only able to reach the cultivation of true condensation 3rd level, because of a variety of fortuitous encounters. When Yu Ying came to the Falling Star Academy, she already had such a powerful explosive force, it was truly terrifying. Moreover, as this young girl's cultivation grew higher and higher, it revealed that her stunning appearance was not inferior to Meng Yujing's. The third person from the Falling Star Academy that Ningcheng recognized turned out to be Shuiyu, who had jumped down from the restaurant wearing a white robe. This Shuiyu only had the cultivation of true condensation 7th level. Moreover, it seemed that he had just advanced to this level not too long ago. He was a member of the Shui clan. How could he represent the Falling Star Academy in the tournament? When Ningcheng looked at Shuiyu also glanced at Ningcheng, and a murderous intent flashed through his eyes. Apparently, he already knew who Ningcheng was. As for the rest of the people, other than Leng Yiyang, Ningcheng did not know any of them. Moreover, he also did not have any interest in getting to know them. He knew that since he was chosen to participate in the fight between the 5-star academies on this square platform, then there must be something extraordinary about it. Ningcheng casually found a seat and sat down, but immediately found that his spiritual sense was completely imprisoned. Just like before, he couldn't use his spiritual will. The dignified man sitting in the middle of the main altar stood up. At the same time, he flew and landed on the square platform where the 25 examinees were seated. He glanced at the 25 candidates sitting on the square platform, and said in a slow voice, "Those who are able to sit on the platform for the first round of the written exam should be the elites of the Hua continent. The first round of the competition only lasts for the time it takes to burn an incense stick." Ningcheng had thought that since this was the tournament between the 5-star academies, the first round of the tournament would definitely be very long. At least it would be longer than the 5th round that he had participated in. Who would have thought that it would only take an incense stick's time? This was too short. An incense stick's time was equivalent to 30 minutes here. If he had to look at the questions in half an hour, how could he proceed with the written test? Not only Ningcheng, but the rest of the examinees were also puzzled as they looked at the dignified man who was presiding over the first round of the tournament. They did not understand why the time was so short. The man simply did not care about the reactions of the 25 people on the platform, and directly took out an ancient leather scroll and said, "The content of the first round of the examination is on this leather scroll in my hands. In a moment I will personally open this leather scroll. You will have the time it takes for an incense stick to burn to look at the questions, and then after the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, you have to answer the questions." Was it that simple? Ningcheng could not believe it. The leather scroll in the man's hands. Even if it was opened, it would at most be 3 feet long and a foot wide. To ensure that they could clearly read the words written on it, the handwriting would certainly not be too small. How much content would it contain? All the people suddenly came to understand. No wonder it only took the time it took for an incense stick to burn. It seems that the first round of the tournament was just a mere formality. At this time the man had already opened the leather scroll. A trace of vicissitudes of life washed over them. The 25 people on the platform immediately stared at the leather scroll in the man's hands. The words written on the leather scroll were not very big, but they were also not very small. Everyone here were cultivators, so they could still clearly see the words written on the leather scroll. Ningcheng estimated that the number of words written on the leather scroll was at most a few thousand. It was not a challenge for him at all. But the next moment Ningcheng felt that something was wrong. The words written on the leather scroll did not have any connection to each other. It simply could not form any sentence or meaning. The difference between each word was like heaven and earth. It was like a bull's head and a horse's mouth were connected together. Ning Cheng reacted quickly. Almost at the same time he reacted, this leather scroll did not seem to be simple at all. He did not dare to have any other thoughts, and directly concentrated his mind on memorizing the contents of the leather scroll. Ning Cheng's formidable memory ability was undoubtedly highlighted at this time. His thoughts turned in the first second, and in the last 2 seconds, he had already completely memorized the contents of the leather scroll. Just as Ning Cheng breathed a sigh of relief, he suddenly discovered that the content of the leather scroll was completely different from before. He subconsciously opened his eyes wide. This time he could clearly see that it was indeed different from before. Moreover, there was not even a single word that was the same. Sure enough, it was not simple. Ning Cheng did not dare to let his imagination run wild, and once again concentrated his mind on memorizing the contents of the second scroll. After a few seconds, the content of the second scroll disappeared, and was replaced by a third scroll with a completely different content. It was the same content composed of some completely unrelated words, without any connection at all. Ning Cheng already knew that it was not simple. As such, the changes in the contents of the leather scroll were not strange at all. His mind was completely immersed in the contents of the leather scroll. Later on, he even forgot that he was still participating in the first round of the tournament. He seemed to be able to see a picture in the different content, and even saw a note in the picture. Good, the questions will end here. An abrupt voice interrupted the various pictures in Ning Cheng's mind. Ning Cheng subconsciously quivered. He knew that the time it took for an incense stick to burn had already arrived. The one who spoke was the dignified-looking man, and he had already put away the leather scroll in his hands. Ning Cheng's heart was in a state of turmoil. In his mind there were hundreds of different grand pictures. There were also the contents of the hundreds of leather scrolls. Although these contents seemed different, but they actually hid such a profound mystery within them. Thinking back to the vicissitudes of life that this leather scroll was exuding, Ning Cheng was sure that the contents of this leather scroll was either a very extraordinary cultivation method, or a magical technique. He even had a kind of intuition that once these pictures were completely mixed together, it would definitely reveal a great secret. At this time, Ning Cheng finally understood why this person wanted to show them this leather scroll. This leather scroll only had one side, and only by looking at it with one's own eyes would one be able to understand the mystery within it. This intermediate class continent was really broad-minded. They even took out this kind of awesome thing as an exam question, so that the examinees could benefit from it. Ning Cheng suddenly felt that something was wrong. This first round of the tournament had countless kinds of questions. Why would they take out this kind of leather scroll? At this time, Ning Cheng heard the nearby examinees talking. Do you feel that the content of this leather scroll is changing? It can't be. I only saw one side of the content, although it was very difficult. But in the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, I was able to remember a lot of it. There are changes, moreover there are 3 kinds of changes. I did not remember all of them. What made Ning Cheng surprised was that the dignified-looking old man did not forbid the discussion below, and waited for the people below to discuss for a while before he said, "Good, now start answering the questions." Ning Cheng picked up the pen and paper on the table, and first wrote down his name and the 5-star academy. Only then did he discover that there were already 10 questions on the white paper. The first question: is there any change in the content of the leather scroll? If there are any changes, how many changes are there? Ning Cheng frowned. In his mind there were still various kinds of images rolling around. Moreover, he was sure that once he completely understood these things, it would definitely be a very amazing thing. He had already reacted. He did not believe that the people of the intermediate class continent would be so noble, and would be able to share such a good thing. Before, he had also heard the people beside him talking about it. Some of them could see several changes, while some of them could not see any changes at all. But he was able to see a total of 600 to 700 changes. Moreover, these changes were constantly derived from his understanding. Can these things even be written down? Maybe the person who took out this leather scroll did not know that there were so many changes. Ning Cheng thought until here. A flame suddenly flashed in his mind, and he suddenly understood. He had always believed that in this world, there was absolutely no such thing as a meat pie falling down from the sky. So the person who took out the leather scroll certainly did not know that there were so many changes. This person took out the leather scroll, and then summoned all the cultivators of the Hua continent who had a strong memory to take the exam, in order to see if anyone could see the changes. This person should have known that this leather scroll was extraordinary, but he himself was not able to crack it. As long as someone was able to crack the changes in this leather scroll, then maybe they would immediately be taken away, and then specifically used to study this leather scroll. Otherwise, why would the 5-star academies need to test this kind of insignificant topic? Thinking until here, Ningqing did not hesitate to write that there were no changes. Even if he failed in the first round, there were still the next 2 rounds. Then Ningqing saw that the second question was whether there were any changes or not. Write down the 567th word on the first page. This question was not difficult for Ningqing. He immediately wrote down the 567th word on the first page. But the following questions from the 3rd to the 10th question, Ningqing was dumbfounded. The 3rd question was, if there were any changes, please write down the number of words of the second change. The 4th question was, write down the number of words of the 3rd change. The following questions continued until the 10th question. Ningqing sighed, and simply put down the pen. He knew how to answer these questions. He even thought that he could see the changes in the content, but the person who came up with the questions did not know about it. But he did not dare to do the first one, and he did not want to do the second one. This kind of heaven and earth treasure was memorized by him. The thing that he wanted to do the most was to find a quiet place to go into seclusion, and then quietly meditate. After Ningqing thought about it, he felt that the reason why he was able to perceive so many changes was because of the mysterious yellow origin. If he did not have the mysterious yellow origin, then at most he would just be an ordinary person with a strong memory. Mysterious yellow origin? Ningqing vaguely felt that he had once again grasped something. Why did the mysterious yellow origin help him see so many changes? The time it takes for an incense stick to burn is up. The man who presided over the tournament once again interrupted Ningqing's contemplation. While simultaneously waving his hand, the 25 answer sheets fell into his hands. Everyone knew that the dignified man who presided over the tournament was going to personally mark the papers. Ningqing really wanted to know the expression of this man after he finished looking at the 25 answer sheets, but he knew that staring at the other party at this time was absolutely not wise. Sure enough, after the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the man put away the 25 answer sheets, while simultaneously playing several array flags. A moment later, the rankings of the first round of the tournament were displayed on the first array formation projection screen. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.